think. Will I get it? No. It's
Well,
too late.
hello. Hello to everyone, and welcome to our discussion of Memories of Ice, the third book in Malazan The Book of the Fallen series. I'm not sure who's here, but if you are, give us a shout out so we know. But welcome. We are going to start first. Well, I'm going to start first by welcoming my wonderful guests. Thank you so much for coming, guys. I really do appreciate it. And I think, Josh, this might be your first time on my channel, so welcome.
Oh, thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm very glad to have you all. So I thought first we would start by going around and you guys can all introduce yourselves. I have put everyone's channel in the description box below. So please do go and check everyone out. But please go ahead and introduce yourselves to... It's probably going to be mainly people we already know who have been on most of these lives before. But hello, Jerome and Shadia. So do you want to start, Tori?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Tori from Tori Talks, and I'm a Malazan nerd, and it's my favorite series, even though I've only read 4 books.
Hell yeah.
That's all you need.
That's
I
true.
reckon it's 2.
I need
It's not
2.
your favorite series
Yeah.
by
It's
4
two,
by
yeah.
the 4th book. You're doing something
Yeah.
wrong.
Matt, you're next.
I'll go. I am Matt on Books, which is the name of my channel, where I do nothing anymore except the Sunday Pub. Every
is a big
Sunday,
thing.
where I do just a
It's a
chat
big
with
thing.
random people that come by. I read the entire Malazan Book of the Fallen during the pandemic. Pandemic was a very rough time for me, and I basically in 3 months read all of the Book of the Fallen.
I don't know how you did that.
And I'm currently rereading it. I'm getting up to, where am I now? I forget where I am. Toll the Hounds. I'm reading for the second time next. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for the invite, Kath.
No, you're very welcome. Josh.
I'm Josh, Red Fury Books. I am 1 book ahead of Tori. I just finished Midnight Tides. When did I finish Midnight Tides? I guess it was back in July, I think, is when I read that. But I'm definitely loving the series. Although it'll be fun to talk about this one because this book, I initially DNF'd this book and then came back over a year later. And then just absolutely loved it. But I'm really taking my time. But I do have the Bone Hunters on my schedule for November, so I'm excited to get back in because I love Midnight Tides as well.
Sacrilege, Josh. You DNF'd Memories of Ice.
Well,
I did. It's okay. I DNF'd Gardens of the Moon twice before it clicked, so I can understand.
And Carlos.
Hello, I'm Carlos. I'm sure some people watching know me because I see some familiar names in the chat. I am the lesser half of Story 2. I am 1 book ahead of Josh, 2 books ahead of Tori. It is maybe joint top for a fantasy series for me. And I have not DNF'd a single book in this series on the first go. So clearly, I am.
You are the superior Malazan reader. Yeah. You are the true fan.
I am.
Yeah.
I finished the series and I did not DNF 1. So there you go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I think did I read this book first out of everybody? Because the first time I read Memories of Ice was like 12 years ago.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm the slow.
Definitely
I'm the slow
before me.
saver reader, apparently.
I think the first time I DNF'd Gardens was like 20 something years ago, but like I said, I DNF'd it. I didn't get that far and didn't continue. So yeah, you definitely beat me on Memories of Ice.
So I thought how we would start is maybe talk about where we're up to in the series, if we finished, and we'll keep it spoiler free for a very short period because I think if you guys are watching, this is the third book in the series. You really should have read the books because we are going to spoil things that have occurred in the first two books. But for at least a short time, we can talk generally about where we're up to, what we thought of Memories of Ice, and then we can get into spoilers. Yeah? That sound good?
Yep.
Great.
If you haven't read the first three books, stop watching and go read.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Seriously. Yeah, we're talking about the third book here. So, yeah.
Or do watch it, and on your head be it.
Yeah,
you go.
exactly.
Or on your head
Live
be
on
it.
the edge.
Yeah. But hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for joining us as well. So this time we will start the other way around. So Carlos, you can start first.
Cool. So I just finished Bone Hunters a couple of months ago. I was going to go straight into Reaper's Gale, but the process of trying to buy a house has completely shattered my reading ability.
Of course.
But I think as a general, like, spoiler-free thing, my favorite in the series, depending on the day, jumps between Midnight Tides and this book.
Bone Hunters? Or Memories of Ice, you mean?
Memories of Ice.
Memories of Ice.
Right,
Memories of
okay.
Ice.
Okay.
Bone Hunters I struggled with towards the end, and I think some of the highs of Bone Hunters are the highs of the series, but some of the struggle with the Marines is just not to my taste. And I think this book, Memories of Ice, has the epic scope and emotional payoff from a previous book that just got me emotionally invested. However, I think if you want me to be really objective, I think Midnight Tides is the best book so far.
Okay.
That's my general. I also love Gardens of the Moon, and I will not hear a bad word said about Gardens of the Moon.
Gardens of the Moon is great, even if I DNF'd it
good.
twice. That was me. I wasn't ready for Gardens of the Moon. That was the problem.
I think that's very true, though, with some books, is it's the wrong time. You read them at the wrong time. It's not necessarily that they're bad books or not to your taste. You just have to be in the right frame of mind when you read a particular book. Yeah.
Yeah, the third time I tried Gardens of the Moon, I was sitting there the whole time going, what the hell was wrong with me? I DNF'd this twice?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Josh, you're next.
Yeah, I think, Kathy, what you said leads into my just quick story about my DNF is, reading something at the wrong time. When I was trying to read Memories of Ice the first time, it was literally, I was at the slowest part of the book 2 of Memories of Ice, and it was literally a week where I was working 14-hour days, and I was trying to come home and read, and I was just exhausted, and I just had no mental focus to be able to read these. And as you know, and it's not a spoiler, Malazan takes more mental focus than most things that you read, and I just didn't have it. So I DNF'd, and then it took me, I think, 15 months to come back. When I came back, I love this one. What I found is that each book from Dead House Gates on, when I finish it, it's my favorite. And then I think about it. So I almost have a tier, which, like the S tier books for me are 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the A tier book is Gardens of the Moon. So I don't think this one is my favorite anymore, although the ending is just ridiculous.
Oh, interesting.
I think Midnight Tides is my favorite for 2 reasons. I think one, I think objectively, I think it's a better written book than any of the other ones. I think it's a much tighter narrative. I think it doesn't have the meandering. It has a lot more focus than any of the other ones, except for maybe the first book of House of Chains. So I think that's part of it. But I think also it is the cumulative effect where that book finally gave some answers and some bigger picture perspective, like just thinking about Memories of Ice, now knowing some of the things that happen in Midnight Tides, for me, makes Memories of Ice better because of Midnight Tides. So I think because of that, I mean, it's still hard for me to say, like, my favorite. I mean, like, Dead House Gates is ridiculous. The ending of this is ridiculous. House of Chains was amazing. I mean, Midnight Tides. So I'm not going to really pick a favorite, but I think Midnight Tides in many ways is just such an important book for the scope of the series, and in many ways made me the most excited to hit the back half of the series, because I can actually now see the bigger picture a lot better than I could at the point when I finished this book.
All right. Well, I was going to go next to you, Matt, but I just wanted to briefly respond to this. Anyone afraid to read Malazan?
Just
Or
do it.
seems daunting.
Yeah.
I think that its difficulty has been highly exaggerated.
100%.
This is not a series that people cannot read because it's so incomprehensible. Not at all. It does take some concentration because there are a lot of characters and there is a lot of unusual lore that we're not used to. But this is not a book like some of the
Ulysses.
old classics. Yeah. Or,
It's not
or
It's
Ulysses.
definitely not
language.
Ulysses.
Or even Shakespeare, whose language
Yeah.
can be too complex for some people who are not used to it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's not a difficult series. So, John, don't be
I
afraid
would-
to start it.
I would
Yeah.
also say, John, it can be read on lots of different levels. Like there is a level where you can just read it as the most epic fantasy adventure ever, right? And you can just get into the dinosaurs with swords for fucking arms, and the fireballs and the flying cities and the insane magic and gods walking the earth. And there's a ton of stuff. You can just say, I'm just reading this, and there's a bunch of details I may not get, and I may not follow, and I may not remember. But even just on the adventure level, it's excellent. So
Yeah.
I would say
John,
just do it.
if John enjoys the idea of a maniacal possessed puppet flinging fireballs at giant birds,
Yeah.
give it a go.
And
Yes.
millennia old characters,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who walk the earth.
I
There are
was-
just so many elements to this story that are unusual compared to a lot of fantasy, compared to Eddings, which John mentioned earlier he has read. But I don't think you will find it too hard, John. I think you need to start
No.
it and just see what you think. Yeah.
I always
There's
tell people,
also a great community. I mean, I'm talking about us, so it's sort of self-congratulatory, but there is a great community of people to talk to
Yes.
and
Except
listen
for you.
to talk. Yeah, not me, but like I know a lot of them, who will help you with anything you're confused by. And there are lots of these kinds of discussions and videos and all sorts of supplementary material, so to speak, about Malazan. So it's great in that respect.
And I agree with Rogue here that I don't think a read along is necessarily the best way to do this because each person is going to read it at a different pace.
Yeah.
I have read a couple of books with Colton, which was wonderful, but we were at different levels at different times. And I think it works better if you read it on your own and then talk to people about the series.
I think if you were to do a read along, the maybe the right way to do it would be to say, this week we're reading this chapter, you know, and like that you
Yeah.
actually concretely
I
pace
can't
it.
stop at a chapter.
No, I wouldn't either. I would just say, oh, that's not a read
Yeah.
along for me, but
Yeah,
that could work.
that could work. Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Also,
I
the
just
books
read
are so-
Neuromancer, so maybe it's not for you, John. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also like if you do try it and it's
Hi, Brian.
just not to your taste, like the books do have a particular style,
Yes.
and it's okay to not like that style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brian, I'm pretty sure swords is not the word for your arms.
What is the word then?
I wouldn't want to say it in
Morning,
public and
Mr.
embarrass him.
Madam Vader. Oh, I just thought before, I know we've stopped in the middle, but I thought since we've got a few comments, I might deal with them and then we can continue. I agree to dear.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's not your first language. It is not a difficult book to comprehend. It just takes a bit of concentration, which, I mean, if you're going to read something like, oh, I don't know, David Eddings, let's be honest, it's very, very easy reading. And yes, you can't compare that to Malazan. It's a little bit more complex, but so is The Wheel of Time. So is Farsia. So are other things. It's all a question of you have to be in the right mindset, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Very
important
welcome.
also to something that Philip Chase gave us when we started our read along, when Philip came on and talked with us about it. Be comfortable with not understanding things.
Yes.
And for me, that was kind of hard to start with. And one of the reasons I also kind of DNF'd initially is I was kind of treating the reading experience as homework. I was like taking notes and, checking the slideshow from the wiki and all of that to make sure I was understanding everything. And then when I came back, now it's just I love to read. I'm just going to read the books, and just accept the fact that I'm not going to catch everything. I'm not going to understand everything, but the big picture, like someone said earlier that Erikson will reveal things when you need to.
Yes.
I mean, there was a perfect illustration of that in the 5th book where it's just something regarding the magic was revealed, and it had so much more impact at that point than if he would have gave that to me early on. So, it's one of those just roll with it, and it's absolutely worth it.
And
The
also,
further you go, the more it will inform what you previously read.
but that's all series. We are never or shouldn't be told absolutely everything in the beginning. You need to have things slowly revealed so that you are intrigued enough to want to continue. Yeah, that's how I see it anyway. And hello to Fitz. Gorgeous
Say hi,
Fitz.
Fitz. Say hi.
All right, well, we're up to you,
He
Matt.
hates it. He hates it. I said at the beginning I read all of the series, all 10 books, really kind of quickly in a few months, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. I had a very particular mindset and schedule in my life at the time, and I needed a lot of distraction. So it was good because I sunk into it totally, but I think there's a ton of stuff I missed because I didn't take time to digest it. I do recommend reading Malazan maybe a little slower than you would read a lot of maybe a bit more popcorn fantasy, because there is a lot to take in, and there's a lot of themes to think about and things to just digest, and I started rereading it because I want to read the 10 books of the Malazan Book of the Fallen, but outside of those, there are also, I think, 17 more books, some written by Erikson, some written by Ian C. Esselmont, his friend. They came up with the world together. And I want to read like all of those kind of as they hook into each other. So I'm in the middle of that. I just finished not just, but a couple of months ago, finished Reaper's Gale. Next, I think I'm reading Stone Wielder, which is one of the other books outside of the Book of the Fallen, written by Esselmont. And I'm just taking my time with those. But I also, of course, put on my Bridge Burners t-shirt for today.
First in, first out.
First in, last out. Yeah, last out. Which is very relevant in this book. I didn't consciously realize it, but before this, because I read Memories of Ice a while ago, I was reading the summary of the book on the wiki, and the opening quote of the 4th book inside Memories of Ice is just first in, last out. Which is pretty relevant in the 4th book of this book.
Yeah. And Tori,
Brian is lost in first. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I really embody the Bridge Burners with this series, because I was the first to start reading the series, and I will probably be the last to finish it. I always tell people when they're like, "Oh my gosh, this series sounds so scary. It's so intense," whatever. If I can read it, I started reading the series as a 20-year-old in college, and I had no epic fantasy experience other than Mistborn. And so I had no idea what I was reading in Gardens of the Moon. But this is one of the things that I feel like doesn't get focused on enough is for character readers. I'm a character reader first, always have been.
Me too.
You will find characters in this series that
Oh,
will
hell yeah.
pull you through whatever you don't understand. And that's how it was for me the first time and why I kept reading.
Absolutely.
Gardens of the Moon was intriguing. Dead House Gates is still to this day one of my favorite books of all time. It's my favorite fantasy book of all time. I will be shocked if it gets dethroned through the rest of the series, but I'm not going to say never. I am finishing House of Chains for the second time, and then Midnight Tides will be my first brand new Malazan book in 12 years, which I'm very excited about, starting it in November.
That is exciting.
Yes. Yep. You guys probably don't need to take as long to read it as I did. But yeah, I mean, it is definitely about the mindset, right? Because the reason I stopped is because I finished college, got married, and became the mother of 3 small children. And as a mother of 3 small children, you have about half a brain cell to work with for like 10 years. So
and you're busy. And you're so busy.
Yeah. And so honestly, this last year or two is the first time that I've really felt like, you know what, I have the brain space for Malazan again. And now I'm coming back into it with a much wider experience of fantasy. And it's completely changed. Not that I didn't love it the first time, because I did, but it's a different experience now. And that's been really fun.
I think that's...
I just quickly, I didn't mention favorites. And it's interesting to me because I was thinking about it as you guys were saying what your favorite was. For me, hands down, Memories of Ice was my favorite the first time I read the whole thing. Other than Cripple God, I always find it hard not to place the last book really high because so much stuff comes together. But just on its merits as how much I enjoyed it, Memories of Ice was hands down my favorite. Midnight Tides, I wanted to punch Steven Erikson for like half the book. Yeah. It took me about half the book to just get over, like, okay, so everything's new again. We're somewhere else with different people, and where are my bridge burners? And damn you, Erikson. But on a reread,
with this book, I felt a bit like that with.
See, for me, it was like in Gardens of the Moon, I fell in love with the bridge burners.
So did I.
And then I was a little pissed off at him about Dead House Gates because there's not a whole lot of bridge burners. And then in this one, it was like, my boys are back.
Dare I say
cool.
They're some of the most important ones, though.
Yeah. Yes.
Sure. But it's like he didn't get the gang back together in that book. And then in this one, he did. Like we get the bridge burners again properly. Yeah. And then further on books, things change and it's all over the place. And I wasn't quite as into it. Second read, I'd probably say Midnight Tides was also my favorite.
Really?
You know, knowing what was coming and being prepared, and I didn't have to go into it being angry at the author. I think Midnight Tides, Bone Hunters, and Memories of Ice are all sort of depends on which day you ask me, you know.
Yeah. I will say I actually did DNF technically Midnight Tides because of the same reason. And 12 years ago when I stopped, that was why. Because I was like, what is this?
This isn't what I wanted.
This isn't what I wanted. I don't have the brain space for this. I mentioned Dead House Gates being my favorite, but I will say it surprised me how many people put Memories of Ice as their favorite. Of the 4 that I've read, it is probably my third favorite.
Okay.
I mean, this is when you're trying to rank 5-star books, it gets a little like it does, you know, like
it's hard.
But it's still an amazing book and I love so many aspects of it. But yeah, I have some more quibbles with Memories of Ice than I do with the other ones.
Proof that you're a Slytherin.
Exactly.
Or maybe I am too, because this one is not my favorite either.
You dyed your hair green. Of course you're a Slytherin.
Yeah, it's faded now. But anyway, I have finished the series. I finished it a couple of weeks ago. Yes, finally. And I just want to reread the whole thing. And I'm really struggling not to because that's all I want to do. But I will say that Dead House Gates is still my favorite.
Yes.
It has not been dethroned. And I'm still not sure where I would put all the books. I still think I need to consider it further. But whilst I really liked Memories of Ice, I felt a bit of a disconnect. We went from Gardens of the Moon to Deadhouse Gates, and I was like, where the hell are we now? Where are all my beloved characters? And then I fell madly in love with this book. And then all of a sudden we've moved again to another place. And I was like, what the hell are we doing here? Okay.
Damn you, Steve.
But where the hell are all my favorites from Deadhouse Gates? So, yeah, by the time I got to Midnight Tides, I was kind of, okay, I'm used to this now. I can deal with this. But Midnight
This is one of the
not my favorite. No.
What's going on in the chat is one of my favorite things about Malazan.
Yeah.
Because like everyone is disagreeing about what their favorite is, which I think is so
true?
cool.
Yeah, let's go.
It's like
through
everybody
this.
is like,
It's your
I don't
favorite
know.
beer?
Jared was
Okay.
like, Memories
And
of
then look
Ice,
at
number
Jared.
9. You know,
That's a take. That's a take.
that is really a take. I'm going to have to
No,
think
you know
about whether I
what?
talk to Jared anymore. But
It won't be 9th, but I think it will be in the lower end for me as well. I have to say.
wow,
Right.
okay.
I have to think about it further. I didn't love it at the time that I read it.
By the way, I would also like to I would like to give Surav props for being the person that I have regular contact with on the Fireside Discord who has the best memory
Oh,
of
insane.
Malazan. Like he comes up with details. I'm like, I don't even remember reading that. What are you talking about?
Yep.
And I look it up and he's right, of course. You know.
Robe,
Yeah.
I'm with you. 7 Cities. I'm a 7 Cities girl, definitely. And so's Tori. I know that already. Yeah. Deadhouse Gates. See, when I actually did my review of Deadhouse Gates, I got so many comments about Memories of Ice is going to blow you out of the water. And I thought, I wish people wouldn't do that because then it puts all these expectations on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I read it, I thought, look, it's great. And there are some wonderful moments.
Oh, definitely.
But Deadhouse Gates destroyed me. And I expected something similar. And I didn't get that. That doesn't mean one isn't better than the other. I just didn't, get it. I didn't feel that reaction that a lot
I
of
actually
people
feel
did.
like I might say that I liked Memories of Ice slightly less on my second read through,
Oh my
which surprised
God.
me. I know I'm going to get kicked off. Well, it's not Matt's stream, so that's good. I'm safe.
No, but you're not invited to the
I'm not
pub anymore.
kicking
That's
you
for
off.
sure.
Oh, bummer.
Oh, 7 Cities, cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
So I guess
I will say that I think Deadhouse Gates left me exhausted, which is I think the intent of that book.
Yeah.
But I didn't connect to it emotionally like most people did because I feel a coldness towards Coltane and all the Marines that I don't care.
Yeah, I did.
Like
yeah.
they go through that and it's
right.
horrible. But I don't.
Can you, Talos? Can you lift up your shirt and show me the scar where they took your hat?
I think what gets me emotionally is smaller, more intimate, like bits of kindness and people going through stuff on a smaller scale than the grand scope of the Marines and all of that. So Memories of Ice has my favorite character, Krupp.
Yeah, Krupp.
And I think Krupp in this book is more of a empathetic, heroic vessel of empathy in this series, where there's the scene that always sticks for me with Memories of Ice when he's in the Maib's dreams, and he basically says, I don't remember what he says to her, but he's basically like, keep calm and carry on. It's okay. You will get there. And like his ability to sense that in other people through humor, which I really like. And then also you have Compassion Jesus in this book, which is what's his name?
Itkovian. Oh, Itkovian, yeah.
Itkovian.
So it's this book kind of has more of the characters that kind of personify the theme of the book, that what he's trying to say. It has the characters that really kind of embody that theme through what they do. I'm not saying that doesn't happen in any of the other books, and I think all the other books are amazing
Yeah.
too. I think I just emotionally connected to it here.
I think
More
Yeah,
we all
we're talking about the
connect in
difference
different
between a
ways.
5-star book and a 4.99-star book.
Yeah. We're not. Yeah. No, I agree with that, but I also think that's what's so amazing about Malazan is people who are loving this series, and yet we cannot agree on which is the best book. It seems that there is something for everyone. And that's what I love about this series. It's such a mix of things that you may not love Dead House Gates, but you will love Memories of Ice. Or you may love Dead House Gates and not perhaps love Memories of Ice as much. It depends on what appeals to each of us as a reader, as a person. So I love that about the series. But nevertheless, you're wrong, Carlos.
But
yeah.
Surov is right. This is the Dinosaurs with Swords for Fucking Arms book.
Mhm.
You know, apparently I didn't even realize this. I didn't even mention them in my review video because I completely forgot because I don't know, as a woman, I didn't care. I thought the deal that they've got swords for arms, okay, they're unusual, but it just didn't really do it for me. I much prefer
If you grew up as a boy and someone puts undead dinosaurs in your book, you're like, woo! And then they happen to have swords for arms, and it just blows your head off.
I mean, that just reminds me, like, one of the things that really made me want to read the series. I saw a live stream, and I think it was like Philip and Joanna and Jimmy and Alan and somebody else was on there too. And when they talked about what they liked about the series, I remember specifically like Alan talked about the military fantasy, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and then it was Brittany, books with Brittany, and then she said I didn't like any of that stuff, but what I liked was this, and like everybody had their own thing that they loved about the series, and it was enough to make it a favorite for them, and that's kind of what I like. Like, yeah, I love the dinosaurs with sword arms too.
Look, they're
Doesn't
cool.
matter for Kathy because she finds other things that she loves in there.
Back
too,
when I was
so.
doing book reviews, I always did this thing at the beginning of every book review that was what's it got, and I'd basically just write myself a bullet list and I just read them off really quickly, and cut really tight so that it was just like bang 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 bang. And I did a review for this book. And I remember I made the list and I was like, even if I cut that really tight and say it really fast, it's going to take a minute to get through the list I made because it's got everything.
Yeah.
Like there's so much in Malazan that I think everybody can theoretically find something that suits them. Anyway.
Totally agree with that. Yes.
Yeah.
Totally agree. So perhaps we should move on to spoilers because we're already bordering on it. And besides, I think if people are watching this, you know, being the third book in the series, I'm hoping that you have read the series or read it.
You don't really have any right to expect a spoiler-free third book.
Yeah, no, this is going to be full of spoilers, and I will timestamp the video after for those watching on replay. But yeah, so warning, full spoilers. Okay. Where do we start? Because there is so much happening.
The prologue.
Of Ice.
Yeah.
Okay, remind me of the prologue because I can't remember.
The prologue is basically two things.
Mm-hmm.
The prologue is a Jagat mother with two children.
That's
and
right.
She
Okay.
finds a tear into
remember.
another reality, and she thinks it goes to Omtos Falak, the Jagut Warren. And she's being hunted by Talana Mas. So she wants to put her kids in this tear and then let herself be caught by the Talana Mas.
Who are pursuing her. And I think,
exactly.
Aren't they also at that point Imas? They're not Talan Imas, is that correct? They haven't actually, or have they undergone the ritual?
I think it was shortly after the ritual. I'm pretty sure it's shortly after the ritual of Talan.
Okay.
But it's also like, it's from our story timeline, it's like hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's like at the beginning of the world almost.
It's
kind
ridiculous
of.
how far
very
back
historical. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she puts the kids in there, and then the Amas get her, and the Amas know what the tear actually is, and it's not into Omtos Falak. And the mother has actually put her children into the tear to seal it, and they will be suffering in agony forever, basically.
Was it the mother who did that, or was it the bone caster who took them and put them there?
Oh, that's right. No, you're right.
bone
Yeah.
caster.
She runs into Kalava, the bone caster who is not Imas.
Yes.
Not and
Talan.
the bone caster puts them in there, knowing what she's doing, and the mother thinks they're going to Omtos Falak. Yeah, you're right. It's just before the okay. I
That's
trust
what
Surov.
I remembered as well.
Absolutely.
There was
they're still a mass, and they're
about
not
doing
Talan yet.
the ritual, I think, and that is quite significant. Well, it's significant for the entire series as well, but that's what I thought. They were debating about doing this ritual to basically wipe out the Jaggers. But I don't know about others. I found the fact that they were pursuing a young mother with children with the intent to kill them was a huge strike against the Imas or Talan, whichever one they were. I just thought, hang on, they're killing kids. What possible justification is there for that? That one of them might be a tyrant? Yeah, no way, not good enough as far as I was concerned. So I really didn't like the Talan Imas in this one to begin with.
Yeah, the Amas morality is quite questionable. Yeah.
Yes.
It also
They are
sets the tone
not
and
good guys.
foreshadows a lot of recurring imagery and plot beats of the entire book. Like, I think this whole book is about motherhood or parenthood in general, and there's a lot of like sort of symbolic imagery throughout the book calling back to that prologue as well.
Yeah, but then all the prologues are extremely significant in every single book so far. Well, in all of them that I've read. And
It took me a long time to develop this habit, but I recommend everybody do it now. Read the prologue at the beginning of the book. Read the prologue again in the middle of the book, and read the prologue again at the end of the book.
Yeah.
Right?
I think
Because
it's great advice.
The prologues are always super, super relevant. Like this prologue was also the first time where I had a big, moment where I connected something, which was the second part of this prologue, where you've got three elder gods confronting Kalor and cursing him, and he curses them back. And what's her name in the prologue? Wait a sec, I'm just looking at the prologue. Sister of Cold Nights is one of the three elder gods that confronts Kalor. And I was like, Sister of Cold Nights. Is that Night Chill? And yeah, it's Night Chill.
Yeah.
Of course it's Night Chill. Right? And Night Chill is the one who gets killed and sort of sucked into Silver Fox.
Yeah. And that's
with
the one
Tattersall.
who Kalor is terrified of and keeps warning
And
everyone
keeps
he's going to
wanting,
kill
like,
everyone.
it's like, why does he hate Silver Fox so much? Well, it's because Night Chill's in Silver Fox.
Okay.
Why does he hate Night Chill so much? Well, because the Sister of Cold Nights cursed him to never die.
Okay, so
and
hang
have
on.
everything
Is Night Chill's an elder god, or is Night Chill's, because I thought she was a mage, like a high mage?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, she was one of the elder
I need
gods
to
that cursed
reread this
Kalor in the
entire
prologue.
series now, because I've reached the end, and maybe now I can finally start putting some more of these pieces together. Yeah. I think Kalor's curse.
Yeah.
I can't stand Kalor.
Yeah.
Cannot stand him.
One of the most hateable villains of all the books so far.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not like, he has no real redeeming qualities. He seems just vicious and
Egotistical.
yes, megalomaniac. Actually,
I almost thought that like the second half of the prologue, I almost thought that would give me some sort of sympathy for him because he's being cursed by 3 gods. First of all, what did he do? What did he do to
Deserve that?
get cursed by 3 gods? It wasn't something minor. And he destroyed the continent, which became the Imperial Warren. He did like such destruction that it became a new Warren.
Which Warren did it create?
The Imperial Warren.
Oh, okay. Yep. Right.
Yeah. And when those 3 gods come to him, he says, I burned everyone and everything, so there's nothing for you to rescue. You know,
I remember
and
that.
then you're like, well, yeah, no sympathy for him.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a horrible curse. Like he can't die, although he does age. And what was it? Everything he ever does or strives for will turn to ash. So he can't achieve anything and he can't die.
Oh, he deserves it. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
he's a fictional character. I can wish the worst on him. I wouldn't wish it on anyone who's real, but this character had no qualms in destroying continents of people. It's very hard to feel sympathy for him. I don't think we're meant to. I think he's an extreme character, though.
Just be glad that Thornall and Ida are not in the chat right now because they are Calor defenders.
I saw that on the fireside yesterday.
I super don't understand it, but they defend Calor over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why you would defend him because I haven't seen, and I've read the entire series, but I haven't read the Esselmont books. Regardless, even just based on his actions in this book, I don't see much to redeem him. Yes, yeah, I think the same question. Why did Caladan Brute put up with him? Yeah,
I think for 2 reasons. I think like if there's a guy like Calor running around, it's good to know where he is and have him somehow a bit under control. And second of all, he's an undying emperor. He's waged so many wars. He is a military asset. You know?
True. But he didn't show any real, I didn't see any real contribution that he made to that alliance. Because I kept waiting for that. I kept waiting for Calor to come up with something to justify him being included. And I saw nothing except betrayal.
Yeah.
Betrayal.
I suspect we would need to read some Esselmont.
Perhaps.
Yeah, Chadia just said that. My answer to that is I don't want to understand Calor.
Yeah.
Calor is just
I don't mind
ass.
understanding him, but I still won't sympathize with a character like this. I doubt it very much. I've also read more books in the series than just these first 3, so I don't want to say anything to spoil it for others, but regardless, his behavior in this book, I was like, why doesn't Anamanda or Caladan just throw him out or do something with him? Really bothered me. But anyway.
For me, Calor and the whole ending is one of the reasons why, like, as somebody who absolutely loves the Bridge Burners, they're amazing. I love a Motley Crue so much. But this is one of the reasons why it emotionally didn't hit for me, especially the second time through, because since we're talking about Calor, I get to go right to the end of the book. So to me, Calor was one of the first moments where I saw Erikson slip into plot driven. And it was at the end when he comes after Silver Fox and Whiskey Jack steps in his way and all this stuff. And I'm like, so explain to me how, other than because plot, we got to the point where everybody's like, you know what? Calor really hasn't had a chance to prove himself, and he's done so many great military things, which he keeps telling us and shows nothing, and absolutely hates and has been talking about killing Silver Fox specifically the entire book. It's okay. Let's go put him on the front line right by where, he can do the most damage and trust that, maybe he's going to be a great guy. And I was like, these are all characters who have been shown to be super intelligent at least to a level that they wouldn't just. So to me, that really frustrated me because I hate because plot moments in books. And Calor was a big one for me in Memories of Ice, and it took so much of the emotional impact for me out of Whiskey Jack's death.
Yeah, I agree with you entirely on that. I actually didn't feel all that emotionally impacted when Whiskey Jack died. And I thought, but this is my favorite bridge burner. Why aren't I devastated? And
Corlat's reaction was incredibly written, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes, I loved how the bridge burners reacted. Then I got very emotional.
Yeah.
But when it actually happened, I thought, oh, come on. His leg didn't get fixed. He's had months
it was also so heavily foreshadowed. Like how many times did Mallet ask Whiskey Jack to treat his leg? And Whiskey Jack was like, "Nah, I got no time right now. I'll do it later."
Of course he had time.
You know, it's like your leg is going to be a problem. That is clear to me. It's probably going to be an important problem in the future. And then it happened, and it's kind of like, well, of course. You know, but I agree with you. Corlat's grief was the bit that really
beautiful.
Yeah,
that was the punch. Yeah.
All of that. I mean, also the bridge burners who was so devastated about Whiskey Jack. Yeah, that was emotional. But when I read that, I was like, I'm not happy with this. I'm not liking this.
Overall, up to this point, I would say Whiskey Jack was one of those really awesome written characters because you don't get that much Whiskey Jack, honestly, but you get a lot of everybody else's thoughts and feelings about Whiskey Jack. So you, even without seeing or getting too much internal from him, you get this feeling for what he is and who he is and how much he's respected and loved by everyone around him, you know?
Well, we get that with Coltane and Deadhouse too, right? Like Erikson uses that a lot. With
you don't get hardly any Coltane. You don't get any internal Coltane
at all. You don't get it at all. Whereas you get some of Whiskey Jack in Memories of Ice. You know, his interactions with Corlat and Amanda. I loved the friendship he made or had with Amanda. They just seem so similar, both such highly honorable men. And at this point, we still don't know all that much about Amanda, but what was that scene with Amanda was going to kill somebody and Whiskey Jack
said, I'll do it.
Now that was a really powerful scene.
Really good scene.
So that Amanda wouldn't have to put more people into the sword.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's right.
That was a very okay, this is who Whiskey Jack is. Made it really, really clear that he was actually just like an extremely good man. Yeah, crazy.
All right, I know we've jumped a bit ahead to the end.
Well, in book one, we meet Tok and Lady Envy.
Let's talk
and
about
Segular and the dogs and the best bromance maybe in the entire books.
Yes. I love
Tok and Tool.
Tok and Tool, yeah.
Tok and
All
Tool.
right, let's talk about them. Who wants to go first? Josh, what did you say?
So Tok drove me crazy.
Why?
Until the end. And I loved him at the end. He just, when he ran away, just the whole, what?
That didn't work.
WTF, what are you doing? And I know he was afraid of Lady Envy and all of that, but I was just like, come on. You know, I didn't get that. But he was like one of those, I mean, we can talk about, because I guess we talk about the end and the beginning. Like, he was one of those just, Erikson just kept piling on all the huge moments at the end. You know, got Whiskey Jack, you know, we got what happened with Tok. Yeah. We'll talk about it, Kovian, soon, I'm sure.
Oh my God, yes.
And definitely. It was one of those, it didn't, Tok's ending didn't reframe for me what happened before, but it did make me like him a lot more and empathize. And I'm just curious because, I mean, what happened, they started calling him Arl. What was the guy's name? I'd forgotten.
He was put into another body.
Yeah,
he was put into the leader of the Tenniscauri. Yeah.
So we'll, I guess, see him maybe.
We can't say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
What book are you? Yeah. What book are you up to, Josh?
I just finished Midnight Tides.
No, we can't say anything.
Okay.
Matt.
Yeah, we can't say
So-
anything else.
So we
Can't
might
say
see him. So I
anything.
am curious to see where he goes. But it was like early on, I was just like, come on. But the whole time also, like his story with Lady Envy, they were so far away from the main action of the rest of the book. The whole time I was just like, what is the point of this
Master.
this
Thank
grouping, and then finally, it converged together like it always does. So I think I also felt frustrated initially because it was just like, I want to be back, with what's going on, Capistan and what's going on with the bridge burners. I want to see all of these things. I want to see less of this annoying, thing with Tool and them, puffing out their chests with the rest of the Segula, the other three Segulas.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I mean, really?
Is it Segula or Segul? Because who cares, right? We can
Yeah,
call it
pronunciation.
anything.
I've got mine. You've got yours. It's all fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
I mean,
like
ultimately,
that
I like
story.
where it ended up, but yeah, for a while I was just like, "Come on, can we get to the other thing?" And
I
yeah.
loved the Segula and Tool.
Me
like,
too. Yeah.
The Segula and Tool were some of the coolest bits because you're like, okay, so these guys are like godlike swordsmen who rank themselves by who they've beat. And I was worried for my man Tool, and then he's like, dink, 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 no problem, fuck off. Boom, another one, fuck off. And he didn't get to at this bit, he didn't get to the highest ranking one. I think Mock was the highest ranking one. But, yeah. But I was like, yes, my man Tool.
Yeah.
He's just even better.
He didn't even talk. He didn't even, acknowledge that he
didn't break a sweat. I mean, he's undead, but he didn't break a sweat.
It wasn't that though. It was more that he was not arrogant about it.
Yeah.
I think that's what I really liked about him. And I love that bromance between him and Talk. So until
He's almost
Talk
a
ran
father
off.
figure to him.
Sorry,
Yeah.
what was that, Carlos?
He's almost a father figure to Talk as well. Just the ancient wise master, that typical relationship, which is, I know I'm skipping ahead to the end, but when you get to the end and like he kind of, they do that shake of the hands and it's just sort of like, it warms your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even just Tool breaking through.
Yeah.
To get to
Talk in
one of my
the
favorite
first book.
scenes.
I loved Talk from Gardens of the Moon.
Same.
Like as soon as he was around, like he's a pretty legendary dude in his own right, but he's living under the shadow of Talk the Elder, his father. He's a claw or talon. Although I think he's a claw at that point.
I think he's a claw.
But he's trying not to do what the claw are meant to do, because he's kind of far too good a person to be a claw.
Yeah,
he's far too good to be a claw. And he's this amazing archer, and he's like, I'd rather go off on my own than be involved in all of that, and it, like, I always liked him.
Man.
But when he meets up with Lady Envy and the Segula, I just thought it got cooler, and the bromance with him and Tool, just loved it. But him leaving them and deciding to wander through Penion-controlled land is the dumbest decision any character makes in the entire series.
Yeah.
It is so stupid. When I read it, I thought I had misread it. I went back a paragraph or two and was like, really? But why?
I felt the same. I don't think I think you're not alone.
Lady Envy flirting with you is uncomfortable. So you would rather go through the entire Penion army to find the Malazans. Really?
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either. I just thought, come on, this is a bit...
And especially since he's not a dumb character.
Yeah.
Like, he's a smart guy, like the way he's written up until that point anyway. He's pretty clever, and then I'll just sort of sneak through the entire Penion.
But what he went through was so horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, he was tortured over and over and over again.
By a mother. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's also like,
wasn't it? Yeah. Motherhood
death by
was
mother's
a
embrace.
Yeah.
big part of this book. Yeah.
Mother, mother, mother over and over again through this book. It's a big,
Yeah.
big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we talk about that part of it then?
Maybe.
Are we done with
Might be.
Talk?
Yeah.
Are we done with Talk and Tool? Or do we have anything to say?
I would just say briefly for them that I loved the Lady Envy Talk and Tool sections because the alternative, I almost DNF'd this on the second read through because the campaign tent was driving me nuts. Basically, you have all these characters and they sit in a campaign tent and they talk for hundreds of pages. And I'm just like, guys, I'm so bored. I can't handle it. And I love military fantasy. And I'm just like, I can't handle it anymore. So Lady Envy and Talk and Tool were saving my brain through the rest
It's a
of
nice
that.
break from all of that. Yeah.
I actually
That's-
agree with that. I found them a nice light relief
Well,
to
and Lady
all
Envy,
the horrible things that were happening in Kapistan or
right.
with
Yeah, and
Malazans and the others.
I think too that Lady Envy, I find femme fatale kind of characters oftentimes are way too hypersexualized or they're super floozy-ish or they're, and I think Lady Envy is such a well-written femme fatale kind of character because
I
she's
thought so, too.
actually deep and interesting and there's a lot going on and there's, you know, so I actually really enjoyed, I usually recoil from those kinds of characters and I
so
love
do
Lady
I.
Envy.
So
Yeah, I
I
love
didn't
Lady Envy.
either. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And I
why
mean, in a way, she's
felt the
also
same way.
she's also playing down what she is.
Yes.
She's acting like a human femme fatale, and she's the daughter of an elder god.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
She's Draconis's
With-
daughter.
With
Like-
an agenda that we
Yeah.
don't know about, but
Yeah,
clearly
yeah, what does
has
she
an
even want?
agenda to
Yeah.
have the Segul with her and
Yeah.
Tool and talk. Yeah, she clearly had something in mind. And then there was those
Yeah.
meetings with, was it Corral?
Mm-hmm.
Kroll,
You
yeah.
have a meeting
Yeah.
with him as well. So obviously something's going on with her. But
Yeah.
I normally don't like femme fatale characters, but I found her funny. I found
Yeah.
her charming, actually, and that surprised me.
She was
But-
playing charming and comedic, but I mean, like she's essentially a god.
She's also terrifying.
She's
Yeah.
totally terrifying. I mean, like first
Yeah.
of all, if
Yeah.
you can convince, not even convince, force 3 Segula to be
At
your
the top
bodyguard,
of the food chain.
you're terribly, terribly terrifying. I mean,
Yeah.
Mock was what, 5th or 7th or something?
7th, 5th, and 3rd she has, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Mock is
Didn't she have
3rd.
3rd, 4th, and
Yeah.
5th?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but she
Yeah.
had right up the top.
But Mock was the 3rd. So like that is the almost best swordsman in the entire world.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
a little trivia. Anamanda Rake is, I think, 7th
Really?
in the Segula ranking.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
There's a story somewhere. I think it's in one of the Esselmont
Yeah.
books.
Gotta
that
read the
he
Esselman.
went and visited them, and they just
gotta read
attacked
them.
him because he's obviously a dangerous swordsman. And he was like, bang, 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 bang. Oh God, I'm sick of this, and he left. So he didn't get to be first, but he did get a Segula rank, and they
Where's
are hunting him.
Tool? Where was Tool? He'd have
Tool?
to be somewhere up there.
He beat
the
other
third.
2.
Mhm.
Well, no, the 3rd was the best. Did he beat Mock?
I can't
I
the
thought
remember.
the 3rd beat him.
Yeah,
That's right, and
I
then they
also
saved him
thought
after.
Tool
Yeah,
let him
Tool
beat
backed off.
him.
that's right.
but
yeah.
he beat the 5th and the 7th, so he would be 5th, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading more about the Segula in Esselmont's books.
So,
I
they
totally
were
love the idea of them.
fascinating. I'd like to read a bit
Yeah.
more about them as well. All right, let's move on to Gruntle,
Kapistan.
Kapistan, because
Yeah,
I will
Gruntle.
admit that was my favorite bit, Kapistan. I
The
love.
Tower
Yeah.
of Dead Bodies.
Oh God, yeah, but not just
Gruntle
that.
and Stony Manakis.
The
Yeah.
Greyhounds, the Greyhounds, Ikovian. Is it
Yeah.
Brucalion? Is that right? I can't remember the
Brucalion,
name. but
yeah.
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 The Master. Oh no, I can't remember the titles either. But you know who I mean.
There's the 3 of them. Yeah.
Yes. You know,
Yeah, the
Shield
shield
Anvil,
anvil,
and, yeah.
because
Yeah.
Mortal
these were a
Sword
new
and-
introduction, right? Again, unlike the Bridge Burners or Caladan, Brood, or Animanda, who we've all met, all of a sudden we meet these supposed mercenaries, and they were anything but mercenaries.
Mhm.
I thought they
Yeah.
were more like crusaders. It's kind of the
Well,
impression.
at the beginning, they're just caravan guards. Oh, you mean the Greyhelms?
Yeah, not Gruntle. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
no, the Greyhelms are basically Templars.
That's
They're not
what I
mercenaries.
thought.
They're
Yeah.
they're essentially like holy warriors. They're a sworn order.
I jumped ahead. We were supposed to talk about
Yeah.
Gruntle, and I jumped ahead. I'm sorry. Look, honestly, you guys, wherever you want, we can head. If you want to talk about Gruntle first, we'll talk about him. If you want to talk about the Iron,
I'm curious
Greyhelms.
if people understood who Gruntle and Stoney and Harlow were escorting.
Oh, I don't.
it was a
remember at all.
god.
There's a caravan and there's this guy named Karuli in it, and he's
It was
kind of a
Karal.
mage.
Crawl,
The
yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah.
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 That became clear when they were talking with all the priests in Kapistan, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But we don't find out until much later.
Much later, yeah, exactly.
So it was interesting for me the first time that I read when I did the DNF, the story with the Grey Swords and Gruntle and all of that was, I struggled through that quite a bit. Second time around, I think I appreciated it more because I did know the characters. But Gruntle, man, I mean, he turned into such a badass. But the reason he became such a badass
Trake's
was
mortal
just like
sword.
such a horrible, I mean, such a horrible thing. But then like seeing him, I mean, I never tire of in fantasy just that crazy, competent, skilled warrior that's just going to do anything. So I liked where that story went. The second time I read that portion of it, and then I mean he was such a strong character. And then I don't recall. You can help me remember the thing with the tiger stripes. I don't remember what happened with that.
That's much later.
Oh, that's much
That's
later.
much later.
Okay.
At the beginning, the introduction of Gruntle, I also found very disjointed because it's Gruntle, Harlow, and Stoney Manakos. They're guarding Karuli's caravan,
Entourage.
and then they run into Beauclain and Corbel Broach,
Who
Oh, I
were
forgot about
so
that, yeah.
bizarre.
and then they run
allowed to
into
play.
Hetan and the other Barghast, and then they get attacked by undead dinosaurs with swords for fucking
That's
arms.
right. That's right.
And
That's
it's like,
when that happened.
all of this is new. What's going on?
And Harlow got killed then. Is that correct?
Harlow got killed. Yeah,
And
Gruntle
wasn't
got
it
almost
the
killed.
Greyhelms who came
Yeah.
in and rescued them, if memory serves.
Did the Greyhelms come in and rescue
Well,
them?
they found them. They found them just surviving. I was pretty sure
Yeah.
Kovian went out and fought the dinosaurs,
Sounds right.
and then he brought
Yeah.
in the caravan, including
Yeah.
Gruntle. That's my recollection, anyway.
Yeah, a little bit like Josh. I didn't care about this storyline until I started to see the kind of clicks because I didn't feel like these characters in this moment, when you meet them, had any personality that was particularly distinct.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
once they get attacked by the dinosaurs with swords for hands, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then threads start to connect. And then it's later, I think, where Gruntle just sort of becomes a bit of a badass. You know?
A real
Yeah,
big badass.
at the beginning when you meet them, the caravan guards are basically all just kind of grunty mercenaries.
Yeah.
All of them, like Stoney and Harlow and Gruntle. The Barghast I have no memory of, except Hetan is a barbarian woman who wants to sleep with everyone.
But
Yes, she was funny.
didn't they
Oh, I
meet
forgot
the
about her.
Malazans? Weren't they with the Malazans? Because Krupe was with Hetan. And I remember the Barghast.
Krupp wasn't with Hetan when
Later-
she first
Later
appears.
in the book. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
remember where the Barghast.
No, it was a group of
appeared.
Barghast who had been sent to find their ancestral spirits.
That's right. That's right. And they
And
they actually
Hetan
do
was
go into
leading.
Kapistan. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But they run into the caravan with Gruntle and everybody, and Beauclain and Corbel Broach also turn up. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
these guys are also
seriously,
really
who the
weird.
hell are they? You know, seriously.
They're hilarious. is who
They are hilarious, but they're also creepy and horrible. And
You
what
need you really need to
are they
read
supposed to have?
not for a deeper understanding, but just for fun. You really need to read the Beauclain and Corbel Broach novellas.
Yeah, I will read them
because they're separate from the story, from the rest of the Malazan story. Mostly, they're in Malazan, obviously. They're in the world, and they're just turning up in different places doing things, and they're hilarious. The novellas are pure comedy. They are satire, and they're hilarious.
It's
I read the
surprising.
first one. It's very, very good. It's almost like a little bit like Edgar Allan Poe, but with a lot more comedic.
Yeah.
You know,
It's surprising. Erikson is quite funny.
Oh, he's
I
hilarious.
wouldn't have expected it. No, because not everyone is good at humor.
Yeah.
And I can be very, very difficult to please. And I thought with somebody who writes so beautifully and can evoke such strong emotions, I didn't expect it to be so funny at times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think Beauclain and Corbel Broach were relevant?
No.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I thought they were cool.
Not at all.
Yeah.
This is something I also suffered with. I was like, I like them as characters. I think they are super interesting and hilarious in a way.
So did I. And then
But
I'm
I
like,
didn't see
where?
It's like, where do they connect to anything though?
Yeah.
And it was almost like he took one of his Beauclain and Corbel Broach novellas and squoze it into the middle of Memories of Ice, separate from the rest, kind of.
It felt disconnected.
I mean, there's the bit with Buke, who is the guy who turns into a bird. He was also one of the caravan guards, and Karuli.
I forgot.
Yeah, Karuli gives him a clay bird.
Yes,
so that he can spy on Beauclain and Corbel Broach and hopefully stop what they're doing. And he turns into a bird and decides to stay a bird and flies away.
And Quickben was,
which was also very poetic.
Which was really cool. I liked that part with Quickben.
Mm-hmm. That was cool.
Yeah.
But honestly, there just wasn't a lot of significance with their story. But anyway, so what about Gruntle? People like him. I've heard mixed things. Some people like him. Some people don't like him.
I could take him or leave him until he becomes the sword-wielding tiger badass.
The mortal sword of the god Drake. Yeah.
That's right.
I liked him from the beginning.
And I'll say it so that Tori doesn't have to. He becomes the mortal sword of Trake because he's angry that a female friend of his got raped.
Yes.
Which
I have things to say about that.
I thought you might. I was giving you an in.
Thank you. Yeah. So Gruntle and Stani and Harlow was a thread that I also didn't love in this one. Partially because they're surrounded by characters that I didn't like. Beauclain and Corbel Broach, I can't stand. I have no interest in them as characters, which is a take, I know. Hatan, I absolutely cannot stand. Like, I cannot stand her character because
I'm shocked.
I know, right? Because part of it
not a very likable character.
She's not.
I'll agree with Tori on that.
I can't stand her character. I was like, can she just leave and go back to wherever, like, to whatever, like, do something else? Because I always look at her behavior, and I think a lot of people let it fly under the radar. They don't really care, and I'm like, flip the genders, and then tell me it does. Then tell me it doesn't matter. Like,
she's a rapist.
Yes,
she is a rapist.
100%. Yeah. I can't stand
no
her
question.
at all.
That's why she's not likable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but with Gruntle and Stani, Gruntle is one of those characters that, like, yeah, he's definitely has those moments of badassery later on in the story when he becomes the Mortal Sword and all of this. There are so many cool badassery characters in this series that I find Gruntle really, like, subpar, to be honest. Stani
he grows into it though.
And I'm looking forward to seeing him.
No, I mean, even in Memories of Ice,
Memories,
more into it. Like at the beginning, he's just a guard who is very well respected. But by just his reaction to Stani's rape really made me like him. Actually,
I like his reaction 100%. I have an issue with the rape itself, because I don't think it makes sense. I think it was a plot device, personally. Because of the enemy they're fighting and what we've been led to believe or shown of the enemy they're fighting, why was she not killed? And that was it. That makes no sense to me whatsoever that this would happen.
Yeah.
And it just,
although isn't it, I don't remember the exact scene, but isn't it like the guy's doing that to her and then some allied troops come and kill him or knock him off of her or something?
No, they didn't kill him. She killed him.
She killed him.
She killed him.
I'm not remembering.
I remember this scene very well as well, and I thought it does happen unfortunately, in wars all the time. Any book
of course.
read with military fantasy, rape is unfortunately a major part of it.
I know that.
Yeah.
People always tell me that when I bring this up, like, oh, but it's real. I know it's realistic. It's more just like that particular instance with the enemy plus, like, it just didn't make sense to me, and it was so out of like.
It feels very much like this is happening so that Gruntle has a motivation.
Yes,
yeah. I didn't feel that. I must admit, maybe because I related to what Stoney said about how he begged her when she was killing him, whereas he didn't listen when she begged him, and that. I just thought that was really powerful. And we didn't even get to see or read about the rape and how it was committed. We just heard the aftermath. And I thought that was really good. And I thought it was really
I will say
one thing I'll say, which I won't spoil anything, but just briefly I'll say that there is a longer story with Stoney and Gruntle, which gets into future books that some of you haven't read.
Yes.
And it gets a lot more. It explains a lot more about their characters and also where that kind of came from.
Yeah.
So there is more, but just in this book, I also was like, oh, here's a big red button you can push to make Gruntle become the mortal sword of Trake. You know,
I can't disagree with that either. I can't say that wasn't necessarily Erikson's motivation for including it, but I also thought it does happen, unfortunately, in the worst or unexpected ways. So maybe it was realistic. I didn't see it as a plot device only, but
I will say that Erikson does reuse this a little too much for my liking.
Yes.
And I actually don't think the worst instance of it is this one in Memories of Ice.
Agreed. Yes.
There's another one actually in Midnight Tides that I don't dig. That felt even more just plot device than this one. This
that one's
one
really
felt
ugly.
To me was we need a motivator for Gruntle to become the sword-wielding tiger badass.
Right.
And it actually, I kind of felt like once we got to that point, we move on from that very, very quick. So it's not necessary. Like, it's an okay.
It's also I thought, I mean, this doesn't change any of what we just said, but I thought that the Gruntle side of that was quite well done, because as I remember, I may be remembering wrong, but at the beginning, the Gruntle was just like this older caravan guard who doesn't really have anything to live for. He doesn't really care about anything. He doesn't stand for anything. He has no motivation.
Right.
And he would have, like, had that not happened in the story, he probably would have sat back and watched the big fight happen.
Well, see,
you know, like he wouldn't have gotten involved.
I thought that he obviously didn't want to get involved because it wasn't his war, but just his reaction to the kids, I think, indicates that he would have got involved, regardless of whether Stoney had been raped. But maybe I'm giving him too much credit, because I always liked Gruntle from the beginning. So I might be. Nevertheless, I think she didn't have to be raped for him to be affected. If she had been hurt, he would have been affected.
Sure. It didn't need to be sexual assault specifically. Yeah, there are other ways to motivate a guy like that.
Yeah. Now I want to answer this by Ida, Who does she rape? She was talking about
Who
Hetan.
doesn't she rape?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I'm sorry, Ida, but just because she's a woman and they're men doesn't mean she hasn't forced them. And I find
it's a
it
weird-
wrong to imply that because she's a woman, it's not rape. Because it can.
It's a weird dynamic because, like, stereotypically, men are always portrayed as always wanting to have sex with any woman,
Yes. True.
and women are always portrayed as not wanting to have sex with any man.
Well,
You know,
you're aware
in
of
like
any-
the
if you're
Extremes.
aware of any statistics, men are also raped. Just
no, of course. I mean, it's totally realistic, but
happens all
we've
the
got these sort of stereotypical behaviors that are pumped out in all sorts of media all the time, so that, you know, if you're female, you should be afraid of men because all they want to do is have sex with you, and if you're a man, you always have to struggle to actually be able to have sex with a woman. You know, it's like we're overcoming a challenge and you're avoiding a predator, and like that's not. Like Hetan is dragging guys off.
It's dubious at best.
yeah.
Yeah. And the guys are often like, wait a sec, what are we doing? Like, really? Excuse me.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
And-
done humorously, but
Yeah.
again,
I didn't like that
question
at all.
Remains, yeah, it remains.
Yeah.
Overall,
Well,
I love
it's not
Erikson's
funny.
humor.
Yeah.
There's a character in Midnight Tides. Is it Midnight Tides or the one after? I don't find alcoholism comic myself. And there's an alcoholic character that is a famous comical Malazan character,
Hellion?
and Hellion. And all the time when all of her stuff was going on, I was just sitting there going, she really needs some help. Like, could someone stop her drinking?
It's exaggerated.
And I didn't find any of it funny at all myself.
I think with Hellion, speaking as an Irish person, she is
speaking
not,
as an alcoholic.
yeah, she is not treated as the butt of the joke in my interpretation.
Yeah,
No,
agree.
It's like the comedy is there, and this is such an Irish thing to do. The comedy is there because she's too fucking miserable to deal with this very evident problem that is so present.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna have a laugh, and this is the
Yeah.
most. This could not be more Irish.
it's kind of black humor. Yeah.
Yeah, black
So, like,
humor.
the
I find-
alcoholism
yeah.
is there,
Yeah.
and
I also didn't think she was being portrayed as
Yeah.
the butt of the joke.
yeah,
You know,
No.
I didn't take it that way, but like the comedic situation is being set up, and it's only set up because she is an alcoholic.
Yes,
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just always
get that.
thinking, ugh, yeah,
I
this.
agree with this, Rogue. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Anyway.
about Hetan, actually, because I read her, and it's interesting now that you're all talking about it. I did not read it as like lack of consent or anything like that. I read her as a funny take on a military character, usually written as a man, like this way. So I didn't see it as endorsement. I saw it.
She's
Borderline.
she is
Yeah.
what
I
if
felt
what if
she was
Conan was a
borderline.
woman?
Yeah,
Hetan
that's a good
is
take, man.
what if
Yeah.
Conan was a woman?
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did laugh at like certain things that she said, and like the bluntness. I could not help but laugh.
I liked her a lot as a character, but all of these, I'm dragging some man who hasn't expressed any interest in having sex with me. I'm dragging him off to have sex with me. I laughed at uncomfortably. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, that
Yeah.
that just doesn't really seem so great to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can disagree on Hetan. I didn't love her, but I really did feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
with her interactions with the men. I can't deny it. I thought, seriously, if it had been a man, it would have been bordering on non-consensual, and I didn't like that. And if that was meant to be funny,
If it had been written,
man.
if it had been written exactly the same way and Hetan was a man dragging off women,
Could be a
Erikson would
hateable
have been
villain.
cancelled.
Yeah,
Erikson
we would have
would have
all
been
been
cancelled.
up in arms.
100%.
Not
about
even a
it.
villain. It would
Yeah.
have been, people would have been saying Erikson is evil.
Yeah.
But this
Right?
theme
I mean-
isn't uncommon. I mean, there's a
No.
famous one in the Wheel of Time with
Yeah.
Matt and a character, and
Yes.
like the people around him just joke
Yes.
Yep.
about it, and it's
Because
it's
that's a
just
common reaction in
yeah,
real life.
yeah. It's just it's a
unfortunately.
very strange double standard that people don't really give enough weight or thought behind it.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Hey, can we
talk
talk
about
about
that a lot.
Ikovian?
Can we
Yes.
talk about Ikovian finally?
Oh my God, yes.
So I have to recreate. So I don't know if any of you saw them. I did reading vlogs for all the Malazan books, and I found out through Memories of Ice that what I should not do is shoot right after I finish the book, because I just finished the book, and this ending, is just like one just gut punch after another. And in my vlog, I start talking and I just say, Itkovian. And I like stare off into space for like.
I remember that.
I remember that too. Yeah.
Like hit me
Just
with a ton of bricks.
associating.
And it's funny because that's like all of these books, because there's so much that goes on. You forget some details and everything, but like that's the number one aspect of this book that I think about the most.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it's I
Yeah.
mean, like, compassion, it has kind of become this meme or whatever, but like his acts at the end of this book, it's like one of the most selfless and
Yeah.
like powerful things like I've read anywhere, and that's what I think about most about this book. And a week doesn't go by that I don't think about Itkovian. So is it just me, or is this, because
No,
for me this
it's
is
not
like the
just
number
you,
one
Josh.
thing in this book?
I think it's pretty much everyone that ever
Yeah.
read this book.
He's
And
in
I
then
don't think
Vegas.
it's just you.
And then the funeral scene, my God, like
Fool me.
I
Yeah.
was weeping.
Yeah.
Like
I
Yeah,
was
same.
bawling.
Same.
Bawling.
like
I
That
we're
was
just
the
thought-
one
putting
I
scene
someone
that
was-
in the
really
grave.
got me in this entire book. I did not cry with Whiskey Jack. I did not cry even with the bridge burners and Colette, but I bawled my eyes out when everyone was paying tribute to Ikovian. I
Yeah.
was
I always think of that as the in case you didn't get it scene. It's like Ikovian does his thing, which is kind
Yeah.
of, it's almost
I kept
abstract.
thinking he
It's
wasn't
kind of
going to die. I
stunning.
kept hoping.
Yeah, take away the yeah.
And then everybody comes by and leaves a token to the point where it builds a hill to honor Itkovian. And I was also like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thornall
Yeah.
throwing a wrench in the conversation there.
yeah, can we just mute Thornall?
Oh,
He
knows
praises
full
Calor.
well
He acts
who
like he doesn't know who
Itkovian
Itkovian is.
He knows
My
so
God.
well who Itkovian.
Someone needs to give that boy a slap.
Well, we should talk about the Greyhounds. What was
Yeah.
people's impression? Obviously, Ikovian is he's what's the titles? Because I always forget the titles.
He was Shield Anvil. I don't
Shield-
remember
He was
the
Shield
others.
Anvil, yeah.
Anvil.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Shield Anvil, Mortal Sword, and I can't remember the religious.
I don't remember it off the top of my head right now
Yeah.
either.
Anyway,
and look it
those
up.
three were obviously the most important, and they were in Kapistan to assist this city, which was tearing itself apart because all the priests were more concerned about retaining their power than actually trying to keep their city alive.
Mhm.
I found that actually really good.
Destriant.
There you go.
Destriant,
Destriant.
thank you.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Well, I thought I know that
Panados was the Destriant and Brucalian was the Mortal Sword. Yeah.
Brucalian, yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't understand why Brucalian was killed. Why he was ambushed the way he was.
Because I think we were supposed to think that he was the big dog and he would be a heroic figure in this siege. And I think that was the moment where Itkovian comes into a position of, oh shit, now I'm the guy. I'm the man now. You know,
Well,
like I got to do something.
Do you think it was a plot device?
I think it was a subversion of expectations, as much as I hate that term.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. Subversion. Is it subversion, or is it simply that this is where Erikson decided to go? I mean, I didn't find that was contrived. It didn't feel contrived to me, the death of Brookalion.
No.
And
it's kind of like the first hit, because I got really emotional when Brookalion died.
Yeah.
And then it's like, just wait.
Yeah.
That was just an appetizer.
No, I think you're right, Kathy, about
wait till we get going.
About authorial intents. There are authors out there that I read, even the ones I love, like I love Joe Abercrombie, but it's very clear his MO is to subvert expectations.
Yeah.
I don't feel that with Erikson. I feel that he just kind of tells the story, and if it subverts your expectations, that's just because where the story is going. I feel it's just an organic part of his storytelling process. I don't think that's his MO. So I definitely agree with that.
But it was a great scene because, as you said,
yeah, and also a big thing with the Greyhelms is that Fenner's gone.
Yes, that's right. They lost Fenner and they felt
right.
lost.
They're a religious military order. They are totally dedicated to a god who isn't there anymore. You know, and as that becomes more and more apparent to them, I mean, I think Ickovian's, not that he wasn't being selfless, but I think part of Ickovian sacrificing himself the way he did was like, I'm the shield anvil of a god that doesn't listen anymore, doesn't interact with the world anymore. I don't have anything left. Yeah. You know, I can do one good thing, and it's the biggest good thing I can imagine, and then I'm gone. You know, because I'm finished anyway. Yeah. You know, I think the like Trake taking Fenner's position in the cosmology kind of left the Greyhelms a bit meaningless. I mean, they swear themselves to Tog and Fenrir, but for a bit there, they're like, Fenrir? Hello? Like they're a bit lost.
Well, I can imagine it would be devastating to anyone who does believe in a god to find that their god's not there or is vanished.
Of course.
It would shake you to your foundation. So it's no surprise. But Ickovian was such a wonderfully drawn character. I felt he, in my opinion, is the best character in this. And I love the Breach Burners, but Ickovian just overshadowed everyone. I felt like that anyway.
I have three characters that embody this book for me. Yep. It's Ickovian, the Maib, and Krupp. And I think
I'm shocked you said Krupp.
Yep.
What can I say?
That's okay. I'm a fan too, Carlos. I love
Krupp's the best. Krupp's the best.
Krupp.
Team Krupp.
Oh, Krupp. I do anyway. What about you?
I think Krupp would approve.
You don't like him, do you? That's right.
I think Tori doesn't.
Right.
Four out of 5 approve.
We'll get there.
Give it time.
There's usually I usually divide all Malazan fans into Krupp lovers and Iskral Pust lovers.
No.
And Tori doesn't love either of them.
I remember that from
but I will choose Iskral Pust every time.
Oh no, you won't.
Oh my god.
You'll change on that.
At least up until I've read 4 books.
Yes. You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered.
Yeah.
But to continue with that train of thought, I do think that Ickovian, the Maib, and Krupp all represent this idea of recognizing other people's pain and
empathy.
Carrying on and like going through it, you know. And I think that's the big thing that I remember a year and a half after reading this book, is that those three really embody that central message of the book.
Yeah. Although with Maib, I mean, Maib is probably one of the most interesting characters in the book.
The most interesting characters in fantasy.
I struggled with that character.
Yeah, well, yeah. You can expand it out to that.
Struggled with that character.
I think one of the things that
she's a difficult character.
Yeah.
Very
I think
difficult.
one of the things, people always
Yeah.
joke about or talk about compassion with the series, and like, sure, that's fine. I think that's so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Reductive, of the series personally. But for me, like themes that I really relate to and engage with on a heavy level in fantasy are always self-sacrifice and loyalty. And I think that's kind of in part of the compassion discussion for sure. And there's so much self-sacrifice in this series,
Yes,
in
I
all
agree
of the
with
books.
that.
And that's something that's a through line, I feel like, especially from Dead House Gates moving into Memories of Ice, and you're getting all of these different major moments of self-sacrifice, which, like, as a Christian, one of my favorite verses is that no greater love has any man than this, than to lay down his life for a friend. And that's like such a powerful, however you want to phrase that, it's such a powerful form of love, especially for people that you don't know, or enemies, or anything like that. And I that was one thing that I loved. And I will say, Carlos, that I'm not as a Krupp fan. This book, the section with the Mybi, is the part of Krupp that I appreciate the most, hands down. Like, I really appreciated when everybody else was kind of ignoring to some extent the plight that she was in, that he saw, like you said, that he saw her in a way that a lot of other people didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gave her real compassion. I mean, the thing I find so fascinating about her is she's doing what you just said, right? She's giving her life for another person, but she's not giving it. It's being taken.
Yeah.
Right? She is not actually sacrificing herself, and she hates that it's happening. And she's angry and resentful of Silver Fox because she was a beautiful young woman, and all of a sudden she was pregnant and dying, and it's such a, I mean, it's kind of such a painful sort of metaphor for the idea of motherhood in general.
Yeah, there's
although
it's kind of the story.
It's motherhood without love.
It's a story of essentially what I read it was postpartum depression, but like the dark side of it, and like the painful side of it. Yeah. And there's another book that it goes into a similar territory, which is the Emma Newman's third book in her Planetfall series, Before Mars, has a central character who realizes deep down that she never wanted to be a mother, and the whole book is about her dealing with that. And the fact that I love my kid, but I didn't want to be a mother, and like that's a very complicated thing to deal with. And I found that kind of equally fascinating in this book too, and something I've never seen in fantasy before.
It's kind of a taboo thing. I mean, honestly, I've not got children, but I pretty much all my friends have kids, and I'd say maybe a third or half of my friends have expressed that sentiment at some time.
Yeah,
like I wasn't ready for it. I wish I could still be more like I was before I had kids, or something like that, even though they love their kids.
Yeah,
it is a trade-off between you're giving away something as well as exactly. It's like it's not only a good thing that has only positive aspects, but it's kind of taboo to talk about it. Like you sound like a horrible parent.
Actually, that's
if you
very
say something
true.
like that.
So
mostly it's not really a very dealt with subject, I think.
I just found it really hard to read about.
You'd never say to a stranger, I wish I'd never had kids.
There was a lot of the movie.
You just sound like a horrible parent.
I got really tired of her. I can't deny it. I lost some sympathy with her, and I was like just over it. Whilst I can appreciate what she was going through.
Yeah.
Also a fair reaction.
Very self-indulgent at times, and I got tired of that. But that's me. I also thought, she keeps complaining about getting older, and I thought we all get older. Yes, it's way too fast, and yes, it wasn't what you wanted, but also Silver Fox is not to blame. This was not something that she was deliberately doing to her. So I did struggle with her character with
I
not
think that's also a very fair reaction, though, and a kind
Mm-hmm.
of an accurate depiction of depression, because depression can be the most selfish
Yes,
disease,
I agree with that.
you know, and it can turn a person into the most insufferable, selfish person that, you know, will test the patience of everybody around them. So it's
Mm-hmm.
totally fair.
I feel if you've ever suffered depression,
Yeah.
then you can recognize it within her. And you're
Mhm.
right, it is a very selfish emotion at times where you are the center of the universe and everyone is trying to make you feel bad, which is completely the reverse of what is happening. I get tired with that because I think
Yeah.
we all do. I mean, I think we all suffer depression. It depends on different levels, but I don't know about others, but when I do, I get really sick of myself that I'm being so self-indulgent. I'm like,
Real.
okay, I've got to throw that off and I've got to move on. And I guess I kept wanting the Mibby to say finally, okay, I'm done. And it's like, no, everyone's babying her. And I'm like, I've had enough. Yeah, sorry. But that was just how I reacted to her anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like every minute or sentence or two going back and forth between she's insufferable and damn, I really feel sorry for her, you know, like constantly, because it's a horrible situation. Like, it's not that she's a mother who is tired of being a mother. Like, this kid isn't hers.
Mm.
And the kid growing up is killing her. You know, it's a horrible, horrible situation.
Yeah. It is.
And she was a whiny little bitch as well. And I just got tired of her whining, but
Yeah.
I totally understand it. You know, I
think
totally
you can
understand it.
You can feel conflicting things about emotions. I can hate somebody and still feel a lot of sympathy for them. I think we always think it's one or the other, but if
No,
anything,
no.
this is what I really loved about the series is it often elicited both emotions. And yet
Erikson is so insanely good at not just delivering you a simple emotion about a character.
yes.
There are so many
Ellison
characters.
as well.
Exactly. There are so many
I was just
characters
thinking about that.
where he said, here's a character, hate them if you like. And I'm like, yeah, I hate them. They're horrible.
Yeah.
And then you get 2, 3, 4 chapters later and you understand more about them and you're like, damn it, they're not just horrible. I can't just hate them.
It's
Yeah.
Could you just
complicated.
shut up and let me just hate them?
But it's always complicated because emotions are complicated.
Yeah.
But I love that he makes you think about it because you
Well, and I
start
think
off, as you say, hating, and then you
Erikson
start questioning why.
Erikson does that, I think, better than any other author I've ever read, is eliciting those complex, real complex emotions that we live through every day. Exactly, Chadia. And this is the argument I put forward through for Fellison all the time. And I think for me, as a mother, the Maibi is a character that, Kat, you need to like decide what you're doing here. As a mother, it is a really interesting discussion that I think I'm glad that people are having about the Maibi's character, because, you know, as somebody who's given birth to 3 children, and I have one more that's in heaven, like, it's a very complicated emotion, and it's the most beautiful, amazing thing to be. And also it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life from start to finish, right? And like, I would do anything for my children. And also there's this sense of trying to desperately cling to who you are as a person when you are everything to somebody else, right? Like, there's such a dichotomy of emotions with that. And, you know, I love that postpartum depression was brought up, because I do think that that's a really interesting kind of theme that can be looked at with the Maibi as well. Working with I'm a doula, so I work with a lot of new moms, and that's, you know, there's so many, like you said, complicated emotions that I think we don't talk enough about. And recognizing that having hard moments and struggling with your position as a mother, whatever that looks like, doesn't mean that you're a bad parent if you're struggling. Like, that's so human, right? Like, and the Maibee is a lot. She's a lot as a character.
Yeah.
She's exhausting to read.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I felt, exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody tries. There's like a new number of phases of people trying to help her, like Carl Aurelio, and and it was. I thought it was so sweet and kind of simple how Krupp gets through to her, and it is certainly the most likable or the easiest to like Krupp that we get ever.
Yeah.
Oh,
it is because he is the greatest character.
I've always loved. Don't get me wrong. I've always loved Krupp, even when he's being an insufferable twat.
Including in this one, but
that moment in
Krupp,
there.
Sorry, because that just sounds like crap. So
but Krupp would approve of the pronunciation Kruppe.
He probably would.
He would say it with a flourish.
It's Kruppe.
Kruppe.
Kruppe. But
hello, I'm Krupp, or as you may know, Krupp, Kruppe. Yeah.
I just thought, though, that with Kruppe, I found it odd that he would be in the middle of this army. I did find that odd. He always came across as a character who was very comfortable in his, pub and seeing all his friends and doing what he needed to do. And then all of a sudden he's in the middle of this army. That felt incongruous to me. But
think about who Krupp collaborates with.
Yes, I know, but
he collaborates with the eldest of the elder gods.
Yeah.
And their project was to make Silver Fox. That was the thing they did together.
Yes, that's right. Actually, that's a good point. No, I forgot about that. No, that makes sense. Yeah.
That was what explained to me. It took me a long time because like when Caladan Brood takes out his hammer, Burns' hammer, it's like the hammer that can break the world.
Yeah.
And he hits Krupp with it. Right? And I was like, oh shit, they're going to kill off one of my favorite characters? And Krupp is dusting himself off, like nothing happened. The only explanation I have for that is either Krupp is secretly an elder god and we never find out about it.
He's an elder god. He has to be.
No. His best buddy is an elder god. He doesn't need to be an elder god himself. He's buddies with Krull. And Krull's back, baby. So, Krull just says, no, we need him. Sorry about the hammer, but not going to happen. That was my interpretation of
Krupp
what
is Moroccan Tom Bombadil. We are too small as beings to understand the full greatness and scope of Krupp's abilities.
It's true. It's absolutely true. So, dream casting for a film with Krupp.
Oh.
I've got mine. I know exactly who should play Krupp.
Oh, I have to think about that.
Danny DeVito about 30 years ago.
Oh my God, yes.
Spectacular.
Yes.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that works for me too.
He'd have to get a little fatter. I mean, Danny DeVito was always chubby, but he'd have to get like more properly rotund.
He'd be perfect.
Danny DeVito. That's why I posted that GIF the other day. Danny DeVito is like my Krupp casting.
Nice.
Definitely. I think that would be perfect casting. All right, so should we go back to Capistan before we get to Moonspawn and all of that? So,
Coral and
I know this video discussion is all over the place, but hey, they're the kind of best.
So are we.
Yeah.
So are the books.
All right.
Yeah,
so
right.
are the books.
So is Krupp.
Yeah.
So is Krupp.
So
I will.
Capistan.
Go ahead.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say, just for the record, for history's sake, I don't like either Pust or Krupp, but I find Pust funnier. That's my caveat to that. So
you're just making it worse.
That's fine. I just want to go on record, not say I love this girl Pust.
It's hard to say a lot without
digging the hole
giving
deeper.
you any spoilers about the characters. So
Yeah.
I'm going to wait until you've read a few more books, and that's all I'm going to say. And then we can talk again about Pust and Krupe. But yeah, I think, Paul Giamatti, that's a good choice too.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, me too. Jack Black, no.
Not
Black.
Jack Black.
No, not Jack Black. Sorry.
He's too white.
He's
Well,
also
not just that, he's a
smart
bit too loud and no.
Yeah, no.
But
no.
Krupe was a mixture of things in this. There were times he was extremely serious. At times he was very funny. And at times he seemed, I'm not going to call him dangerous. I never got the feeling he was dangerous, but he was like impressive. Like
if I witnessed Caladan Brood hitting a guy with Burns' hammer,
I'd be scared.
and the guy's like, I'd be like, whoa, I don't know who you are, but damn, okay.
All right, let's go back to Kapistan, because I really thought this siege was so good and so well described.
Yeah.
It just really got me, actually, the scene with all the bodies and, Gruntle with his children's, what was it? Was it a scarf that he had?
Like a tunic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little girl's tunic that he made into a banner. Yeah.
Especially when people are outnumbered the way they were, because should we talk about the Penny and Domin, the Tenascari, these horrible cannibals? They were disgusting and gross, and I mean, you can't like anything about them because they're eating their own, for heaven's sake, let alone the dead seed, which I just thought was like, yeah, that was my reaction.
I just imagined Erikson with a bunch of Post-it notes, and he's like, "What are the most horrible human taboos?" And then he's prioritizing them, and he's like, "Okay, I'll go with cannibalism and raping dead people. I'll take those and make an army out of it."
But it also seemed over the top, to have cannibals as well as dead seeds and things like that. And I think it would have worked better for me if they hadn't been one or the other, let alone both combined. It immediately makes you hate them. Why?
As a military commander, it's kind of genius in a way. It's like
they're going to eat their own. Eventually, there won't be anyone.
No. You always have to fight more. It's like every time you fight, you get to eat. And we're training a new generation of soldiers as we're going.
Yeah, and we should talk about the dinosaurs with swords for arms as well.
Dinosaurs with swords for fucking arms.
Was that something that shocked people when they read about it? Like, that's such a bizarre concept, a dinosaur with swords for arms.
I had to read it twice.
Had the puppet.
Yeah.
After Hairlock, nothing can shock us.
Hairlock's awesome.
Yeah.
The dinosaurs with swords for arms, like as soon as they appeared, I was like, wait a sec. Okay, you're mixing all of your nerd genre stuff maybe a little too much. You've got swords and you've got dinosaurs and you've got undead dinosaurs with swords for arms. I was just like, I want to know what these things are, where they came from, who made them, why are they there, what do they want? It's just so over the top. Yeah,
they seem though invincible, like, because seriously, they seem to just go through the armies so easily, the dinosaurs, the Kachin Chamal. And I thought,
if I remember correctly from the descriptions, they're like, one of them is like twice as tall as a man.
Yeah.
So and then they're like 4 times as long as a man. The swords that they have for arms are like man-sized. It's not that they are invulnerable. It's just like, how do you take one down? As a person, and as a small group of people, like in an army with lots of spears and you're prepared, maybe, but like they're terrifying, unbelievable.
That's what I
think. And they're undead.
These are the questions that keep me up at night.
Yes. How do you do that?
Yeah,
I mean, the first ones we meet are undead, so they are kind of indestructible. I mean, they're more indestructible than a flesh and blood Kachin Chamal would be. simply because like they don't feel pain, they don't bleed. You really have to physically completely destroy them, which is obviously not easy. But oh my god.
So I'll be super embarrassing for a second and admit that this is one of the things in Malazan that I think is really funny, because when people started talking about that, they're like, oh my gosh, there's dinosaurs with swords for arms in Malazan. I've read 4 books and I'm like, there are?
You forgot.
And this is why I tell people, if I can read Malazan and get something out of it, you absolutely can read Malazan and get something out of it.
That's
If I can read Malazan and miss the dinosaurs with swords for arms, so can you.
I have a hard time visualizing world building sometimes, and so for me, the Kachain Shamal, like I had no idea that's what people were talking about, because I don't know what I visualized honestly, but like it wasn't that.
No,
So,
I agree 100%, Tori. That's one of the things with the series for me. Like, I don't picture much of anything. So I always struggle with how people look, how, you know, all these different things. Like, I didn't even know, like, the Dujek and Kaladin, I thought they were just, like, normal humans. So, like, I never pick up on those things real
Dujek is a normal
clearly.
human.
So Dujek's normal human. Kaladin Brood's, like, 1,000 years
Kaladin
old
Brood
or
is part Barghast, I think.
Yeah. So I didn't even know that until there were like a certain scene, and like a lot of the different races and things like that, I'm still super unclear in this series with it, because that's another aspect for Erikson's the way he writes. You know, like he says he doesn't hold hands or whatever. Other authors would give you little like
page and a half of
reminders,
description,
and he doesn't do any of that.
Yeah.
So that is something that I do still struggle with in the series. Like when something comes up, I'll have to stop and think, okay, is that a human? Is that an undead? Is that a this? Is that a that? Because he doesn't give you any of the things to kind of jog your memory that a lot of other authors would do. So like I totally get it. If you don't get that first description, you're just going to see the name the rest of the time.
Well, and I've always kind of seen the Jagat as kind of like elf orc-esque, like ish. And that
like
so
the elves, did you say?
Like they're not as like tank-ish as an orc, but they're like they've got the same kind of like face and with the tusks and stuff, and those. So, but I mean that's
broader, stronger than an elf. I always thought the Jaguts were bigger and strong.
They were on one of the covers, and that's the only reason I could visualize it.
They're bigger. They're bigger than humans, and they're greenish.
Yes,
greenish bluish, and they have big tusks.
Yeah,
so they're Erikson orcs.
Yeah, more like orcs rather than elves. Yeah.
Orcs, if orcs were not stereotypically stupid.
Right. That's what I kind of. If
the Jagat are really smart and very powerful in particular kinds of magic. So,
yeah. All right. So, I talked about Capistan. It's your guy. Anyone else want to say something about it before we talk about the finale, or anything else that people would like to talk about?
There was one small scene just because it popped into my head when I was just rambling a minute ago with Dujek and Kaladin. I loved when they finally met. Like it was just a small little scene, but I love one of those, like, to use a modern vernacular, like when game recognizes game and they meet each other and they realize, even though they've been at odds with each other for so long, that they're like totally kindred souls and
it's like
can work
respect
together. And I like that kind of scene in fiction. I never tire of it.
It was a lot like the scene where Whiskey Jack and Animander Ake start talking.
Yes.
Where they just like, even though they're like nothing like each other, they recognize each other, you know?
Yes.
There's this will make Josh happy. There's another really good scene that I just read in Lions of Al-Rasan like that.
Oh, yes.
Jagat or Warcraft orcs. Yeah, that's although the Warcraft orcs are also kind of dumb. One of the things, I mean, it's not normally, I guess, one of the things you would necessarily talk that much about because it's not epic or anything, but I really loved the religious hypocrisy of the Mass Council.
Oh my God, I love that.
I grew up in the Catholic Church, so a lot of the stuff in the Mass Council, I was like, I know you. I know you too. Okay, I've met a lot of you people before.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
all of these guys who are
you recognize
basically just rich merchants, really.
Yeah.
They're not religious anything.
Yeah.
And eventually they throw down the guy who wears the Fenner mask, and I loved all of that sort of political religious intrigue part of Capistan.
Yes, so
at the
did
beginning.
I. That was a good part of it. Yeah.
And I also loved, I mean, it's related, it overlaps. I loved how Hetan and her buddies, once they realized what was going on, they're like, get the fuck out of the way. We're digging up your room. Like,
Yeah.
our spirit ancestors are here. We're digging this all up. We don't really care what you think. Just move. I
forgot about that scene.
Yeah.
I forgot the significance of that scene too.
Well, it becomes very significant later on as well. Like, and the boats beneath the city.
Which is such a cool idea.
Yeah.
And isn't it in this one that the sappers are first in, last out? Isn't there this scene where they almost get blown up? Is that right? And they're running away again before they have to enter the city, or is that wrong?
The newer
else?
bridge burner cohort.
Yeah.
Into Capistan, isn't it?
Oh, and I've got
I think it is.
I've got the wiki summary open in the background.
I just seem to recall that there was a scene where they were going to enter, and of course there were all the bodies, and they were worried about. And I found that very tense. That scene, I really liked that.
Yeah.
But then I really liked the Capistan scene.
Yeah,
can't deny it. Yeah,
classic. And Telemandas. I'd forgotten about Telemandas. He's the Bargas spirit that's stuck in the stick snare.
Oh, that's right. Oh my
little
God.
stick person.
Yes.
And Quickben goes wandering the warrens and he runs into Telemandas.
Yeah, Quickben.
And then he's traveling around with this little stick guy on his shoulder.
That's right. The god.
Forgot. Wow.
Is he one of the Bargas gods?
He was one of the Bargas spirits. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is this book also the one where we get more of Quickben and sort of the origin of the bridge burners? Is that this book?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I loved that.
I love that.
Yeah. Whiskey Jack tells the story, the origin, and
in 7 cities.
Yeah.
Along Raraku. Yes.
Yeah.
This is where we found that out. Yeah. That was one of my favorite scenes because it kind of showed you how the bridge burners came into being.
Yeah. It also gave you a bit more of Quickben and what he's capable of, which I liked.
Yeah. Was this
Quickben is, no matter what happens anywhere else, Quickben is just always going to be one of my favorite characters.
Badass,
yeah.
He really is.
And he's just smarter than everybody else, including the gods.
And so cocky, so arrogant that sometimes you just want to slap him. I do anyway, but yeah. But he deserves to be arrogant because he is extremely smart and extremely powerful. But is this the book where he sees Burn?
Yeah.
It is, isn't he? And he
sees the crippled god chained to Burn's wound.
And he saw the crippled god. Is this the first book we meet the crippled god? I think
so.
I think we've heard
of it. I think so.
Yeah.
Because at some point also I think in this book, Caladan Brood talks about being there at the chaining.
That's right.
And why all of this kind of happened, how the crippled god got here. Yeah.
I thought so.
What did you guys speaking of plot conveniences, what did you guys think of the Trigel Trade Guild?
Bit of Deus Ex Machina that I'm fine with. I don't mind.
Yeah. I keep going back and forth between, wow, that was very convenient, wasn't it? And thinking, in a world like this, of course that would happen.
Fair.
Like, of course, if you've got this kind of magic and you can travel through warrens and stuff, somebody would make a business out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like someone would be like, we can deliver anything, anywhere, anytime. Just pay enough money.
I like the idea of them.
Yeah.
I still like the idea of them. I do feel that they are a convenience, but it kind of works for me. I don't know why. I guess they're interesting because the characters. I'm also thinking of future books, so maybe that's.
I was remembering wrong. Also, I was thinking this is the first time they appear, but they appeared in the Chain of Dogs.
House.
Yeah, they're in the Chain of Dogs as well. They supply the Chain of Dogs emergency relief, so to speak. Yeah.
All right. So, Carlos, what did you think of Capistan?
We haven't really talked about the fight at all.
The what?
The fight.
Which fight?
In Capistan. The siege.
Oh, yeah. I think I don't want to shatter the Malazan world with this take.
However,
we're all braced. We're ready.
Do it.
I think I might have enjoyed this siege slightly more than the one in Bone Hunters.
Oh my God. More than Igatan.
More than Igatan. Although I think the crescendo, shall we say, of Igatan in Bone Hunters is by far superior. But I think the process of getting through this siege, I enjoyed more.
The siege itself, yeah.
I'm going to agree with you. I think this siege was better overall, but not the end result.
The end result in Bone Hunter is off the chain. It's off the chain. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. I actually think it might be my second favorite now. I can't decide, but yeah, I actually do like the siege because we got more detail. We got also the history of the people living in this city. So you become emotional about what's going to happen to them when these horrible cannibals come. So I agree with you. I think this might be my favorite siege. Yeah.
I also felt that there was slightly more, maybe it was just the way I read it, but we got slightly more information to build an emotional attachment to all of the various threads that were coming together in Capistan, as opposed to in Yigatan and Bone Hunters. It just is a siege that happens. And then you build that during the siege until you get to that end. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In this one, I went into the siege being like, okay, I want to see what happens here. And you kind of you have a little more context going into this one.
You know they're headed to Capistan to relieve the Grey Helms for quite a while before you actually get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you see the politics. You see the politics that are, tearing this poor city apart, and that they're, not prepared for this siege. Yeah.
I just read. I'm just looking at the summary. I just read something I completely don't remember. Right. So you've got the Mask Council.
Yes.
And Ikovian, the shield anvil of Fenner, goes to Wrath Fenner, the Fenner representative on the Mask Council, cuts his hands off.
Yes, I remember that.
And takes all of his pain, which kills him.
Yes.
And Paran brings him back.
I don't remember
that.
Brings Wrath Fenner back. Wrath Fenner dies because of Itkovian taking all of his.
I don't remember Paran bringing him back.
It says this momentarily kills him, but Paran brings him back. Speaking of Paran, we haven't talked about Ganos Paran at all.
Yeah, we have to talk about Paran.
He becomes the master of the deck in this book.
You see, this is where the series can be very confusing. It's like, what the hell is the master of the deck?
Yeah.
What the hell does this deck do? And I don't understand how it all comes together.
The table
the table was
as well. I love the table.
The significance of it.
The table, and when they turn it over, there's a painting of Paran on the back of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should talk about Paran.
Yeah.
Well, have we finished with Capistan? Does anyone else have anything to say before we move to Paran? No? Okay. Let's talk about Paran. Or Paran, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah. I always say Ganos Paran, but
I say Genoas.
Yeah, of course.
Just because I'm contrary, yeah.
You say Ganoas Perrin, and I say Ganos Perrin. So the Deck of Dragons, after reading most of the series twice, the picture, the sort of understanding in my head is that I don't know why it exists, I don't know where it comes from, but the Deck of Dragons is like a magical reaction to the state of the world.
Prophetic.
Yeah.
Prophetic.
Well, it can be used in a prophetic way, but the deck itself shows the state of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So cards appear and disappear. For example, when certain people take certain kinds of power or relationships to gods or whatever, they appear or disappear in the deck. And the big question in this book is, there's a master of the deck all of a sudden, and there hasn't been in a really long time.
Mm.
And is he going to validate the House of Chains?
Yeah.
Right?
Cripple God.
The Cripple God. And I mean, the House of Chains ends up being a lot of the famous people. And in this book also, I think Calor is sworn in as the Mortal Sword. Mortal Sword?
I don't think it's this one.
No, I'm pretty sure it's in this one.
I could be
Calor
wrong.
makes a deal with the Crippled God towards the
Actually,
third
no, you're right.
quarter of the book.
You're right. Yeah.
And everybody's like, no, you can't make the House of Chains official, and you can't swear in the Crippled God and actually put him in the deck because it has this big effect on the world and all this sort of stuff. And I love that Ganos is like, yeah, but if he's playing our game, he'll have to play by our rules. And he does validate the House of Chains, which constrains the Crippled God in a certain way. Yeah, Calor becomes King of Chains. That's right. Yeah. Mortal Sword is someone later. Yeah.
We can't say
Anyway, what
about that.
did you all think of Ganos Perrin or Ganos Perrin or Ganos?
Perrin. That's what I call him. I liked him.
I always
day
like
one.
Perrin.
Mm. And
You
I
know,
liked his growth.
The only thing I don't remember a whole lot of his story, to be honest, in this book, except the ending, where he was finally a bridge burner. I remember that scene very clearly, and I remember the deck, and I remember finding that humorous that he was on the bottom of the table and all of that. But I honestly don't remember his journey through this book really clearly, except for that very end where he had gained the respect of the bridge burners, and they accepted him as one of them, and
he ruled them. He grew into his role as captain of the bridge burners. I thought that's what I saw throughout this book, is that he was trying to gain their respect because he respected them, and he had to work at it, and he did work at it. So I really admired him as a character. I thought he really came into his own, and he deserved to be a bridge burner by the end of it, as separate from his role as master of the deck.
I love the thing I love most about him is he's kind of a normal dude. But at the beginning of the book, he's sick. He's got these constant stomach pains and all this sort of stuff, and he's passing out all the time. And eventually, I think it's Mallet who says to him, "Is it Mallet? I don't remember who it is."
That's right.
Somebody knowledgeable says to him, "The reason you're sick, is you're this close to ascending, and you're fighting it."
Who, Perrin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure?
Yeah, absolutely. Because being the master of the deck is an ascendant position, right? And he was already close to ascending because he had absorbed the blood of the Hounds of Shadow in Dragnapur earlier. That sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And he'd also been basically chosen by the twins. He'd been given the sword chance. All these totally crazy things had happened to him. He was this close to ascending, and he was resisting it, and that's what was making him sick. And then he becomes the master of the deck, and he's no longer sick.
See, I always thought it was Gessler and Stormy and Truth, who were
Gessler, Stormy, and Truth did also
or were
basically
close
ascend.
to ascending.
Yeah, close to ascending,
I
but that was for a
recall
different
that.
reason. They went
Yeah.
through that warren with
Yeah, I don't
the
recall
fire.
that about Perrin. I have to reread.
For me, that's
it anyway.
No, for me, that's one of the best things about all these discussions, especially with Malazan, is that I think I don't know who, except maybe AP Canavan is going to remember everything, you know, and we can all help each other remember different things. Like Matt, I had totally forgotten about the beginning of Perrin's story, and then you started talking. I was like, oh yeah, I remember now. So
He was assassinated by Sorry.
yeah, and that's why I think all of these discussions for me just always enrich these books. Because there's so many things, there's so much density to this series that it's easy to just miss things or forget things over time or whatever, and then this helps jog memories. And
it's important because a lot of things are tied back to previous books. As you go further into the series, you'll notice, oh, that's from that one. Yeah.
This is the bit from the summary. Ganos Perrin, now captain of the Bridge Burners, has been feeling ill and suffering from nightmare visions since his contact with the Hounds of Shadows and the events of the Fate in Darujastan. Mallet and Quickben determined that he is on the cusp of ascendancy, and his resistance to it is causing him to feel sick. Yeah. Silver Fox declares him to be a new unaligned card in the deck of dragons, the master of the deck. Yeah.
That's one of the things about Malazan that one of the aspects that I have let go of is trying to keep track of who's ascending, what ascending even is, why it's happening. Like, I don't pay any attention to that.
Elder gods, lesser gods, whatever.
I am exactly the same until a really cool scene happens and I'm like, wow, that was cool. And other than that, I don't give a shit.
Right.
I think I've played too many role-playing games that have rules and, written out details about magic. And in general, in books, I like the magic system to be not a system at all, just interesting. But this, specifically the Deck of Dragons, is so, and the Warrens, they are so obviously a system of sorts, but he never explains them in detail. So I always, in the back of my head, I'm always like, how's it work? And, yeah.
I kind of want the rules so that I can understand what the hell is happening. Or even if it's not rules, I just want to know how it operates.
Well, that's why we have.
But even though I think about all the rules, I am just as lost as all of you every time Fiddler does a laying of the deck. Like he's throwing out cards and talking about things, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's get on with the killing.
Yeah. Well, that's why I love the discussions too, because then people are like, "Oh yeah," and like Ganos is like ascending. I'm like, "Okay, cool, good to know."
Did you also catch the details about the table? The table is a table that the Bridge Burners had specifically made for Fiddler to do drawings of the deck, and it's 2 pieces of wood with a deck laid out in it, sandwiched together. So the Deck of Dragons is in the table. As well as they lay the cards out on top of the table. And there was
I got that there's parts, there are actual cards that make the table, right?
That are in the table. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there was sort of maybe I just made this up and I was inferring in my head, but there's kind of if I remember it right, it's kind of suggested that this was made this way so that Fiddler could cheat. Because the cards in the table affect the cards on the table. There
was some cheating involved at that time that they were involved in. I remember that, but I didn't think it involved the actual deck itself.
Yeah. Not only was there a table Thornall, but the table actually floats.
Significant.
Floats and flips over and shows
heavy,
Ganos.
and it needed several people to carry. I remember.
Yeah, and it had been stolen from them.
Wasn't there also a scene where wasn't Krupp eating at the table and then he loses a cake or something or a cupcake and he goes off flying with the table? Was that in this?
I remember that. Probably.
I love that.
I don't remember that.
It's so funny because for as intelligent and interesting and complex as Malazan is and how brilliantly it's written, there's so many things in this series where I'm just like, Erikson had to have just been throwing stuff at a wall
Yeah.
and been like, well, that would be cool. And why don't we have a table that floats and
Yes.
put some swords on the dinosaurs? And like, I mean, it's the most random stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's preposterous. But
Yeah.
it's
What
wonderful.
makes it interesting is you never know what you're going to say
Right.
next.
Yeah.
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 Well, we're getting on to over 2 hours, so people may want to head off because I know most of you are in the middle of your day or beginning. So I was thinking maybe we should wrap up soon and maybe talk about, say, the end. And
Cool.
no, I am not from New Zealand. Excuse me. I am
Excuse
from
me.
Australia, Dom.
Big mistake.
Anyway, yeah, I just thought maybe we should talk about the finale and anything in particular and just our general thoughts about the book. And yeah, then I can let you guys go to do whatever you need to do today. Yeah. All right. So who would like to start? Random. Josh. You go.
Okay.
No, should I
Well,
start with someone else? I can start.
Well, you know,
if you like.
we didn't talk about I don't know if was it an epilogue or was it just the last chapter with the bridge burners and their little tavern or their I don't know if it was a bar or whatever it was, and then the big reveal for me, and I was so excited because my absolute favorite character from Dead House Gates was Duiker, and to find that he was back. And
That
if I
was the
remember correctly,
epilogue, I
he starts to talk about, he starts to tell the story of Dead House Gates.
Mhm.
And for me,
It's
that
the
kind of
epilogue, and they not only open a tavern, but they buy Kroll's temple
Yeah.
from Gardens of the Moon and
Yes,
turn it
that's
into a
right.
tavern.
That's
And
right.
then Duiker's telling the story. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Duiker's telling the story of the chain of dogs. And it just, for me, it's like that brought it full circle.
Mhm.
And in many ways, for me, justified why this book had to be third instead of, you know, because like people say you could read Gardens of the Moon and then read Memories of Ice. Well, the epilogue for me brought those two things together meaningfully because it was, you know, Duiker was my favorite character because he was kind of that observer that was still part of the things in Dead House Gates, and for me it brought the two stories together so well. And then but it also, you know, it was like a nice epilogue for the bridge burners. I mean, it was for me, it was a little sad because we
It was
got,
very
you
sad.
know, you love the bridge burners in these books, and we know Whiskey Jack's dead and this is the end of the bridge burners. You know, they get their pension or whatever you call it. I don't know if that's what they call it in the book, but you know, it's kind of the end of their story. So it was kind of sad, but it was also, it's bittersweet because it was such a beautiful ending, but then you get to see just Duiker kind of survived. And I suspect, you know, his story might be over, but it was a great way for us to see kind of the end of this character, you know, a book and 900 pages later. So for me, that was just a really, really special way to finish out the book was that epilogue.
And
It's
all the ones
also
that didn't make it.
yeah, it's also a real development for Duiker because he's been sitting in that tavern since they opened it and drinking and not talking.
Mhm.
And then one night he decides to tell the story.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and it's also I'm just getting this from rereading the summary. It's like the two sides of Gardens of the Moon coming together because it's Picker, Blend, Ansi, Mallet, Spindle, and Blue Pearl, bridge burners, run the tavern. And that night, Paran, Call, Murillo, Krupp, and Baruch are there, and Duiker tells the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Josh
I think
disappeared.
Josh got lost accidentally. But here we go. Good. Yeah. Welcome back. Yeah, I think
I love the end as well, and I love that, you know, the remains of the soldiers kind of take their pension. They just decide to live peacefully and open a tavern. And if you would permit me to tell a very quick story that is unrelated to Malazan, but related to this idea. But it's kind of, in a weird way, funny, darkly comic and wholesome. But
Darkly comic and wholesome. Okay. Shoot.
not entirely wholesome. Anyway, in the west of Ireland, in Galway, there is a pub called the King's Head. So this pub has been there since the mid 1600s, and it's been run by the same family since
Wow.
the 1600s.
Wow.
It's just been passed down from generation to generation. So this pub exists because there was whatever, our former colonizers, now neighbors over in England, had a king at the time who was not a very nice man. What a surprise. And he was about to be executed, and they couldn't find any citizen of England to execute the king with the will and the valor to hold the axe and execute the king, the monarch of England. So the court decided who could possibly want to wield the axe and execute the king?
An Irishman.
An Irishman. So let's go over to Ireland. And they got two beefy farmers from the west of Ireland to agree to go over and execute the king.
Wow.
And these two fellas were shipped over. They did the dirty job. They probably got them to do a lot more other things, but they were promised a pension, and they were promised that they didn't have to work anymore after completing this deed for the empire, whatever. And what did they do? They opened a tavern, and they called it the King's Head. And now it's one of the most famous pubs in the west of Ireland. And I'm like, well, that's wholesome, isn't it? That's nice.
That's awesome.
And that scene, to bring it back to Malazan, where all of these soldiers, after all this rough stuff, just decide, you know what, we're going to use our pension and we're going to open a little tavern, just reminds me of that. So I like it.
Love it.
Awesome.
We're going to open a tavern in a blood sacrifice temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not going to work at all as a tavern.
Also, there was so few bridge burners left at the end.
Yeah.
I think when they went into, was it Morn? Was it the city? Or what it was called at that time?
Coral?
Yeah, Coral. Oh, I know it's Coral later, but was it Coral?
Coral is at the end. Morn is a city. It's where the rip in the
Okay, it's Coral.
fabric of reality was.
I meant Coral, actually.
Right.
But in that, when they went in and they had the Jaggers that they were fighting and they were trying to get to the Penny and Doman, I didn't realize initially that at the end of it, there were so few bridge burners left. I expected them to be coming out, and all of a sudden we're told there's just this few little bunch that is going off to Darajistan. Now that
already before the beginning of Gardens of the Moon, most of the bridge burners were killed.
Yes, there was that as well.
There was the betrayal with the tunnel. And then in this book, a lot of them die mostly in the siege of Coral. There aren't that many left. I mean, the ones that ran the pub, there's six of them. And there's Kalam and Quickben and not that many left.
There's not many left. I found that heartbreaking personally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a really good scene with Duca because I love Duca as well from Dead House Gates. I thought it was a really fitting ending. I don't know if others know this, though, that Memories of Ice was meant to be the second book.
Yeah.
But he lost the manuscript, or his computer broke or something.
His computer died, and he lost he'd written like a half of the book or something and lost it.
Oh.
He had to completely start it from scratch, and then that's why he decided to do Dead House Gates, because he was like, I'm too angry.
Yeah.
And they had a quote in the wiki. They said, Erikson said, "I know for a fact that my original version was far better than what I rewrote, and that sucks."
Aw.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest. When I started the book, I thought really this should have come after Gardens of the Moon, and I would have felt a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do
perhaps-
agree. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think it would work as the second book. I do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think Dead House Gates would work quite well as a third book. It didn't have to be
Yeah.
a second. It's just that continuity. I think.
Well,
would
and
work well.
but Dead House Gates being the second book also establishes the Malazan tradition of everything changing every book.
That's true.
Yeah.
No, I
Where are
agree
we? Who
with
are
that
these
as well.
people? What's going on?
Yeah, I agree with that as well. Yeah,
I think it would be possible to start Malazan in 3 different places. I think you could potentially start it with Gardens. You could start it with Dead House Gates.
Mhm.
Or you could start with Midnight Tides.
Mhm.
I mean, there is an argument that you should start with Midnight Tides because it happens before all of the other books.
Yeah.
But I think that's crazy talk.
Yeah, just start from the first one and go.
I'll trust the author.
Yeah.
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 All right.
Yeah, I want every first Malazan reader to have the same experience I did, that they're angry at the book and the author when they read Midnight Tides.
Yeah. All right. So who's next? Carlos? No, you've said what you wanted to say about the end, about the book.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
don't? No, keep going.
pretty much. I mean, I think on most days, this is the one that has gotten me emotionally up to now the most, and that's kind of just what I value from reading. I think objectively, Midnight Tides is probably the best book so far. Just because I'm also a theater kid and I like the Shakespearean
Feel.
dramatics of
Mhm.
Midnight Tides.
Mhm.
But this one, I think, just had the epic scope. And there's one scene that we haven't mentioned that I just think is so fucking cool. And it's when Moonspawn comes up out of
I was
the
going to
sea.
bring it
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, this series is exactly what I want from fantasy, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That was epic. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just the whole idea. Like everyone's like, where is he? Where is he? And all of a sudden he's coming out of the ice. That was
And then the description of just this shadowy figure standing at the edge of Moonspawn. And it's like, oh, because I like Anomandarake. I'm a basic person, so yeah.
well, no, we should. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it because I was going to bring it up. That was an awesome saying.
Just a basic edgelord stan.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He was quite upset. I actually found him more human in this one.
Yeah.
Like his connection with Whiskey Jack, his emotion over losing Whiskey Jack and losing Moonspawn and placing the bridge burners, including Whiskey Jack, in Moonspawn. I found that actually made him more likable for me because up to then he'd just been this mysterious figure.
In Gardens, he's just this distant edgelord. You know, and he looks cool and he's scary and he's obviously powerful, but you don't really get anything of him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, he's just this picture, basically.
Yeah.
And in this one, he actually does things, and you get to get a feel for what he's actually like. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? Tori?
Yeah, I mean, as a Dead House Gates nerd, I obviously love the tie-in at the end of the book, and it brought all of the emotions from Dead House Gates back immediately. And I think, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like what else was. There's a few other things at the end that obviously lead into the next section of these different character stories. The ones that I think I was most intrigued by is the question of like whenever somebody's dead in Malazan, you're always like,
Yeah.
okay,
Final.
Yeah.
so we're gonna
Maybe.
see them again when, you know. So to me, only having read through book 4, I think the emotions that happen about the bridge burners are kind of on pause for me, because I don't know if they're going to come back or not. I don't know that Whiskey Jack is actually dead. You know, all of these questions of like, yeah, nobody's ever really dead in Malazan. So when are they, if, when, so I think it's going to be interesting for me to get to the end of the series and see what was actually done, like what parts of the story were actually finished when certain characters die or disappear or anything like that. So yeah.
So you feel like it's incomplete, kind of in
Yeah,
between?
yeah. And I mean, I obviously at the end of Dead House Gates too, I think that one hit me harder for a lot of different reasons, but it was kind of the same thing at the end of Dead House Gates too, where like, yeah, I had that big emotional gut punch that had me in a book hangover for weeks after I finished the book the first time.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, and that's something that I struggle with a little bit with Malazan, because I'm not a resurrection trope person. I don't enjoy that typically. And I'm like, so how many of these deaths are actually going to mean something in the series versus not? And I think that will eventually decide that and other things, but that will be part of what decides where Malazan ends up in my favorites list as I get to the ending. So
I think a lot of people don't like the resurrection trope because it's easy, right? You
It's
get
easy,
a character who you love and is killed off, and what they're going to be brought back.
Yeah.
But also, it's
Go ahead.
lazy sometimes. It can be
It
lazy
can be,
writing.
yeah.
But I think what
I
people
trust
need-
Erikson enough, but
that's what I was going to say. You need to trust what he's aiming for in this story regarding death.
yeah,
That it may not necessarily be the end. That
right.
I did a whole video just on this subject.
Yeah.
My contrasting opinion to Tori's is, to me, I totally understand what you mean, but to me, a world where we've established gods walk the earth,
Right.
where you go when you're dead is actually a place with a gate.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Magic is like, it can do basically anything. It wouldn't make sense to me to have permanent death always.
Yeah.
You know, that just wouldn't fit in the world.
Yeah. Nope. That makes sense.
I've never had the feeling it's a convenient thing. It's just like, oh, I like this character a lot, so I'm going to bring them back or anything like that. What death is in Malazan is a transformation.
Yeah, and Jerome just kind of mentioned that too, and
nobody comes back and is simply who they were.
Yes.
Right.
Everybody comes back and has lost something, has changed in some way,
or gained something, or
gained something, or they're not the same person.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, they come back and they're not the same person. And a lot more people don't come back.
Yes.
Than those that do.
And
like, coming back is a big deal.
And you don't know who. Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yep.
Well, I think it's a good point, though, because I think a lot of people don't like resurrection tropes, but given this world involves gods, you know, and gates, I think you need to keep in mind that maybe this world is not like other fantasy worlds that we've read about. In so many other ways it is, perhaps with death as well, is another aspect that it's not like all these other series that you read about.
There are a lot of people that come back, but I never felt like it was easy.
I think,
I always felt like they paid a price. It was because of very specific conditions, and they paid a price and they changed, you know?
I think what he's doing with death is unique and different. Having finished the series, that's all I can say without any spoilers. But it is not because he's being lazy. He has a purpose behind what death involves. And that's all I can say. I don't want to say any more because I don't want to say anything wrong. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't have liked spoilers. So let's keep it there. Yeah. All right, Matt, what about you? This is your favorite, isn't it?
This is probably still my favorite. I would I would say I don't necessarily think it's the best written. I think probably Midnight Tides for me is the one that just plotting and pacing and how everything fits together is probably the best one in my opinion.
Smaller
But-
cast of characters in that as well.
Much more focused, much more contained, and this one is Memories of Ice in a way is kind of a hot mess. Like it's all over the place, and
Yeah,
there's so
100%.
many things happening, and they're all separate, and like they sort of come together, but like it's a bit more messy certainly than Midnight Tides, but I think I have more epic scenes in my head that just blew my mind from Memories of Ice than any other Malazan book. Like
Yeah.
there are just so many high points, like Gruntle and his tiger made up of people's bodies and undead dinosaurs with swords for fucking arms, and the house full of bodies with Gruntle fighting his way up to the roof, and
Moonspawn
rising out of the ocean, and then burying the bone hunters in it, the bridge burners in it, and I mean it's just so much. Like it's a really long list
Covian.
of crazy. It's Covian in the Talana Mass.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. It's crazy. Well, first of all, I mean we didn't mention this, but if you're going to mention Covian in the Talana Mass, you have to start with Silver Fox denying them.
Well, that's
Oh, that's right,
very
yeah.
She could have let them go.
significant, isn't
Yeah.
it?
She could have let them go, and she says
Bound.
no.
Yeah.
She calls them, and then Covian's like, "Okay, I'll do it." You know,
Quick
That's
Ben
the-
versus the necromancers.
the
Yes.
one, two-
Yeah.
that
yeah,
was good.
exactly. Bokalane and Corporal Roach turning up for the first time,
Uh,
and Quick Ben traveling the Warrens with this little stick figure on his shoulder who is a Barghast ancestor spirit. I mean, it is just so much super cool stuff. The
Yeah.
epicest of epic stuff.
understanding
Yeah.
the Talan better, the Talani Mass better.
Yeah.
Understanding
There's a lot
where
more
they-
of that in later books as well,
Yes.
but like the Talana Mass,
how
like
they
they-
came
they-
to
they
this
s-
ritual.
yeah, well, they start out as such a mystery. It's like,
Mhm.
why is there this undead army for hundreds of thousands of years wandering around the earth? Why are they working for the emperor? Why? You know, all this stuff. Yeah, exactly. Draconis and the chariot and the sword.
Dragniper.
Dragnapur and chaos coming. Why is the chaos coming? Well, crippled god, and you know, there's just so much
There's a lot.
seriously
There's a lot
epic
in
stuff
here.
in this book.
There's a lot.
I have a really hard time not loving it. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't know if I'd call it an end to a trilogy, but it can feel like
Not
that,
really.
I guess, given that Midnight Tides book. No, House of Chains is next.
House of
Yeah,
Chains
see, I
is
would
part
say
of-
quartet, yeah, rather than a trilogy.
Yeah.
This was
But
not
it does have the ending that could, just because it does tie in with Duiker with the Dead House Gate. So you could
It
say
feels
that
like it
Yes.
wraps
it
up
does
the
does
second
wrap
book
up
a bit.
Yes.
And,
But
yeah.
House of Chains is
And it's-
also again related to Dead House
Yeah.
Gates. So
But you could call this the Bridge Burners trilogy, sort of almost.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the Bridge Burners are over at this point.
Yeah, the end of
Um,
something. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the first three books are about the Bridge Burners and the rest aren't. You know, so
yeah.
yeah.
Well, this was not my favorite. I've finished all of them. I don't even know where it would sit, but I had some trouble connecting to some of the storylines. And whilst I really love certain aspects, like I liked the Siege of Capistan, I loved seeing the Bridge Burners, I loved seeing Whiskey Jack. I didn't feel that emotional punch that Dead House Gates delivered. And ultimately, it boils down to that for me, that I am so affected by what happens that I can't stop thinking about it. I didn't have trouble stopping thinking about this book, except perhaps Ikovian, because he really did get to me. But he was, he did something wonderful. He freed a species who I really disliked at the beginning because I found that they were committing genocide, trying to kill all the jaggers. They're chasing
They
children.
were committing
I
genocide.
loathed,
Mhm.
I loathed them to begin with. But Erikson made me feel compassion for them, that they have been suffering for such a long time, for millennia, for hundreds of thousands of years, and seeing how they felt on being released and having their memories returned. That was a really powerful scene. One of the most powerful scenes that I've read. So it kind of lifted the book for me, but not my favorite. Deadhouse Gates definitely beats it for me. But I think you fall either in one camp or the other. You either love Deadhouse better or you love. No, I did. Yeah, Josh came back and I'm sure I hit it. I don't think I hit the wrong thing. I was trying to let him back in. Well,
Did you kick him out
Abandoned.
again? Nice.
yeah, he might be having trouble.
Permaban.
Oh, hang on, Josh. I'm
He
looking.
says he's here.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I thought I hit it.
He's invisible though.
Oh, no,
Agreed,
here we go.
Cornell, that Corlat
Here
and
we
Whiskey
go.
Jack are awesome.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
Shipping-
wired fiber internet. I don't understand why Restream doesn't like it.
Too much porn.
That's right. Yeah. Well, regardless, this is a great book. I cannot deny
Yeah.
it. I definitely prefer it to some others in the series. It's not in the lower end for me, but yeah, it just didn't hit the highs that I hoped. But regardless, it was a fantastic installation because you got to see and learn so much more about this world. You actually got to see the bridge burners and Paran and Callor, and not just Callor,
Fucking
but
Callor.
Caladan Brood, who I'm going to say I thought was really underutilized in this book and found him almost ineffectual. I was like, why aren't we getting more of him? Whereas in Gardens of the Moon, he seemed much more powerful and mysterious. But regardless, this was a great installment, just not my favorite. Yeah. Anyway, so any final thoughts?
Everybody read Malazan.
Yes.
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and I would go back to what we said earlier. Don't worry about how complicated people tell you it is and all
It's
of that.
not. It's not.
I
There's a
know
lot
so
of
many
character.
people who've read it, and I know so many people with very different tastes and preferences who've read it,
Yes.
and they get very different things out of it, but they all love it. I mean, some people don't, of course, like any other book. But
always
I
going
know
to-
people.
You
I know
don't.
so many people who love it, and they love it for very different reasons.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would urge everybody. That was John earlier, I think. Just give it a go. Read Gardens of the Moon. If it doesn't hook you so much,
I
It's just
reckon
a book.
Give it two. Give it 2 books because Gardens is quite different too, and it's
Yeah.
really an introduction. I think if
Yeah.
by the end of the second one you are not sold, then it may not be for you. But I
Yeah.
think 2 gives you a good idea if it is going to be a series. for
really,
you.
you should read 5 and then decide.
You
Like
might as well
if you've read
read 10.
5, if you've read 5 and you're not hooked, then you've really given it a good go, and you know it's not for you.
Look, some people will know within the first book. They'll know
Yeah.
within the first 100 pages.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you're still uncertain at the end of the first book, then definitely try the second.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hello.
definitely.
We're just about to finish, I'm afraid. Yeah, we were just finishing up because we have been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I've kept you guys so long, and it is getting late here. So it's time for me to head off. But thank you very much to my wonderful guests. I really appreciate all of you coming. Now, I know that was poor Josh. He's having a lot of trouble with his internet right now.
It's an Irish goodbye.
Yeah,
Right, I'm just going. I see you later.
I'm gone.
Thank you, everyone, very much for coming. And
Thank you, Kath.
Yeah, for
Thanks for having us
being
again.
such great
Yeah,
guests.
thank you.
And I'm going to let Josh back in just so that we can say goodbye.
Say goodbye really quick, Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, all you wonderful people, for contributing to the chat. We always love seeing what you have to say. But again, have a wonderful day or wonderful night, depending where you are, because this is a real global collab this time. We're all around the world.
Indeed.
But yeah, take care, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
See you, everybody.
Bye.